How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to more Upsurge Premier League here on Upsurge Esports. I am your host, JT Displays. Hope you're having a fantastic Friday night. We got two Rocket League matches to kick you off tonight before we send it off to the League of Legends, folks. Let's take a look at the first one here. It will be taking on Vengeance Esports as they take on ImPerium Gaming here. Both these teams looking to be at the top of the Dominus League standings here, both coming in with a perfect 3-0 record there. It's going to be a great one, a full 9 points out of 9 here for both these teams as they fight to try to get into that, early number one seeding here. I mean, playoffs again, still several weeks away, but, starting off 4-0, both these teams are looking for that. And I got to feel both teams have to be feeling pretty good about their chances with that a 9-0 record game win percentage there. Very good. 4 losses in total on Vengeance Esports, 1 loss in total for ImPerium Gaming. So record-wise, ImPerium does have a bit of an edge there, but I think Vengeance Esports, they're a more known quality to some of these folks in the chat here. So I've got a feeling they might have that edge that chat can surge them forward here. Chat, if you're with me, you gotta let us know in the comments there. Let us know who you're feeling for this matchup here. Is Vengeance and ImPerium getting ready to set off here? Take a look at the rosters here for them once I find them. We got Iota, Altruism, and Wale for ImPerium Gaming. Meanwhile, for Vengeance, we got Dr. No School, Gav, and Wrecked Potato. We've seen them certainly wreck the standings on this matchup earlier in previous weeks here. So we'll see how they do against the team of ImPerium Gaming, of Iota, Altruism, and Wale here. Once we get everybody in the setting here, we'll get ready to go. Should be a fun matchup, I think, here. We got a lot of imp simps here, apparently. So I thought that maybe Vengeance Gaming had the go ahead in the chat. Looks like it might be might be the Imperium Gaming fans out there in the chat. Well, look, I see you. I see you. I respect. I respect. But I think we'll wait to see if everybody is ready to go here. Teams are about ready to join up on Champions Field. It is, of course, as always, a best of 5. When we get this one kicked off, we're about ready to kick off right now here as game number 1 starts right now. An opportunity here. We will see as Dr. No Schools here on the ball, looking for a pass out to Altruism there. A little bit of a dribble here from Imperium Gaming as they're working on it. Here's Wally now on the ball, an opportunity. Wreck Potato trying to make a challenge, not going to happen as Dr. No School looking for a shot here. It's going to go into the corner as Iota tries to regain control here for Imperium Gaming. We finally got that gameplay and audio back, folks, so no worries. We got it going on. Yeah, I'll make the gameplay work. I'll make the gameplay work. It's all fine as Dr. No School looks for a shot. Altruism says, not this time, buddy. The shot opportunity goes wide into the corner. Gav trying to put pressure here for Vengeance Esports. They've had a lot of early pressure in game number 1, trying to get Imperium to break early. Iota now trying to work something into the corner for Altruism. Cut out there by Gav. Gav looking for this one. Cut out by Iota. Wreck Potato sees an opportunity. It's going to send it wide instead, trying to draw the defense of Wale. An opportunity for Dr. No School. Gav keeping the pressure high. Altruism finally gets the clear out and a little bit of steam release there from the Imperium boys as they are still trying to defend this net here. Shot from Dr. No School goes high on the crossbar. The best opportunity for them is a counterattack, and that's going to go in for Altruism, and Imperium will be the first ones to get a goal after so much pressure on the orange half of the field there. Altruism finally able to split the defense there and get the first goal here. So a little altruistic or a little selfish, either way you look at it. Imperium there with the first goal. Iota sending it up here for Altruism to clear it out is Wale. Out to midfield, finds his teammate Iota. Again, both these teams coming in with a 3-0 record. Both teams at the top of the dominant standings here. So this is a battle of the Titans as it stands. A shot from Gav off the crossbar. Mop and bucket not there for Wreck Potato as Altruism is there to make it clear as they look to turn defense into offense here. Imperium enjoying a bit of possession as Wreck Potato trying to disrupt it here as best they can on the blue half of the field. The counterattack opportunity there from Imperium certainly working for them early as we have 2.5 minutes left to go in game number 1. They don't really care about the possessions too much because they say, listen, we have that quick strike ability with Altruism. We don't necessarily need to have the possession to have all the pressure on the blue half of the field because we can hold our own defensively as Dr. No School tries to put that to the test here. A little bit of pressure now on the orange half of the field. Dr. No School now looking for Wreck Potato. Passes it down here, trying to find Gav, but it's going to be Gav with a shot that goes wide. Unfortunate for him there. He's going to be kicking himself, saying, I should have had a few more Wheaties when I woke up this morning. Wreck Potato, though, looking at one-on-one. The goalkeeper, not going to happen. Wally able to clear it out and sends it downfield. Altruism looking for the teammate there. As we have 1:40 left to go here. It's still a very close 1-0 game between Vengeance and Imperium. Altruism dropping it into the corner. As Dr. No School, they're trying to find some sort of opening in this great rotation of Imperium so far. Gav trying to send it down. Wally there to make the stop. An opportunity for Imperium to try to put some pressure here at midfield, though. It's cut out. Good team play there by Vengeance. Vengeance looking for a goal. Dr. No School says, no thank you, is the response from Iota. Final minute now. Wally, not happening there. The shot went towards the back of the net, but it's ultimately corralled in the corner by Wrecked Potato, who really had a pop-off match the last time they were on the stream here. So a little quiet to start off this matchup as Gav looks to find Wreck Potato, sends it in the corner instead. I like that chance. I like that opportunity there. But ultimately, Vengeance, they're not quite clicking in that final third. They need to find that last piece on the offensive side of the ball to really get things going for them here. As Iota says, is Vengeance going to score? He says, not one iota in the final 15 seconds, isn't it? I gotta put the pun in there. It's what I have to do. Final few seconds. Is this ball gonna drop down here for an ImPerium 1-0 game for game number 1? The answer may surprise you. The answer is yes. So it wasn't too surprising there, but ultimately a very close matchup there. Vengeance, you know, not getting it quite done the way they wanted to offensively on the side of the ball there. Let in that one goal from ImPerium. It was all I needed. The Imps get it done. Take game number 1, but game number 2, that is where, you know, you might see some in-game adjustments between these two squads here. Who really thinks that they have the better opportunity between the two of them here? Looking in, you know, what adjustments are we going to see? Obviously, the chat going wild right now for the ImPerium side, but we still got some hope there. I see Vengeance got some hope in the chat as well. As that one goal from Altruism was all it needed. One shot, one goal. And game number 2, we're going to get ready to go here. See who comes out on top in this one. Kicking it off now, Vengeance trying to undo the mistakes as they quickly have to defend, and it's not going to happen. Mop and bucket time, says Iota, and that's an early lead, 7 seconds in for ImPerium. Wreck Potato could not make the clear, and a great bump there. I see you, Altruism. That was a great bump. I see that. Oh, a great bump. Gives them the lead. So Vengeance, well, they're back to the situation they had almost the entirety of game number 1, which is down a goal here, looking to chase the game, essentially. This is not what I imagined the gameplay going this early on, as Wally looks for a shot here, and that's going to be dropped in. Dr. No School thought he had the save there, but well, it's not a save. That's what I'll say. It's not a save. Not a vibe, Dr. No School. Vengeance, again, can be dominant when it's called upon there. But ImPerium, they've only lost one great game so far out of all of their 3 matches. And Wrecked Potato, just as I'm talking about ImPerium, is like, hold on. Remember when I was saying that I was popping off the last time I was on the stream? Watch this, off the wall here. Bonkers play into the top corner. Gets it done. So Wreck Potato saying, we will not go quietly into that good night for Vengeance there. Clearly been watching a lot of movies there with Will Smith. Saying it's his Independence Day to break free. As Gav look for a shot there. Well covered by Iota this time. Altruism cut out by Dr. No School. Good pressure here from Vengeance as the rotations are coming through for ImPerium. They're saying just trust the process, trust your rotations, next man up. Cut out there midfield as Altruism shot goes towards the net, saved on the goal line by Gav. Altruism here gets cut out by Dr. No School. Gav looking to find Wrecked Potato. That was a good pass. I like that pass. Again, good opportunities. They're just not quite clicking on the final third. Wally trying to find something here for ImPerium. They've got the lead, but it's only a 1-goal lead, and they've been comfortable working with 1-goal leads, but Gav says, don't get too comfortable, boys, because it is now a tie ball game. With this beautiful little dribble here, Altruism, last man back there, just couldn't defend the top corner of that near post. Iota. How will ImPerium respond to this? You know, they had the early lead, but now it's a tie ball game. Carte blanche, if you will. Not to be confused with carte blanche, because then that you're talking about the Golden Girls, and, well, nobody wants to be talking about Shady Pines just yet for either team. Dr. No school for you. Crossbar instead. Gav keeping this pressure, though. As Dr. No School looks for another bite of the apple and gets it this time. Vengeance, take a lead. So here we are with Vengeance in the lead in game number 2, exactly halfway through game number 2. 2.5 minutes down, 2.5 minutes remaining. Wreck Potato trying to work some magic against Iota. Not going to happen this time, as Iota just says, this is free. Blitz the defense, hits it off the post. In it goes. We're tied up again, guys. We're tied up again. I don't know what to tell you. It's going to be back and forth. Game number 2. Like I said, it's very different from game number 1 very often. Because game number 1, you don't really know what you're coming up against with your opponents there. You say, maybe this. You know, maybe they're going to play like this. Maybe we're going to try to impose our will in this way. Game number 2, hey, we kind of know what our opponent's going to do, and we're going to try to adjust as best we can. And both teams have managed to adjust here by scoring in bunches. We only had 1 goal in game 1. Now we've got 6 in total already with 2 minutes left to go. No doubt, at least guaranteed 7 goals here. The question is, who's going to get that 4th goal for their side? Could it be Altruism, who's had a quiet game number 2 here? He's been very much contained by the Vengeance squad. Who will be the one to step up to give their team the late lead here, as we've got 1 minute and 30 seconds and change left to go? Barn burner indeed, Hoppa. Gav now popped up. Opportunity. Dr. No School's going to defend it, though. Wally keeping the pressure, looking for Iota, but it's going to be Gav instead who gets there. Now here comes Vengeance on the attack, looking for the backboard here. The backboard read, though, by Wally keeps his team on the board, tied up, and Wally looks to take their shot, but Gav says, not today. 1 minute to go. Iota trying to lurk it as the bump's starting to come out. Wally. Now Altruism trying to find Wally. Does that. Looks for the pass, but Wrecked Potato's able to read it, clear it out to midfield here. Tries to take an opportunity one-on-one against Iota. This could be an opportunity, but Gav gets demoed. Great demo there by Altruism, but Wrecked Potato says, I can do it myself. Oh, Iota with the save. Stays 3-3, 30 seconds left. Could we see overtime in game number 2? I don't know. We got 20 seconds to find out, though. It could be interesting. Final few seconds of regulation. Dr. No Schools tries to send it in here. It's going to be cut out and denied out to the corner. They steep the pressure, though. Vengeance. They feel that they smell blood in the water. They're going to try to attack this final second goal. Opportunity for Dr. No. Iota clears it out. Gav keeps the ball alive. That 0-second rule 0, as they call it, but it goes down, and we got overtime officially in game number 2. All right. Overtime. Chance to catch your breath, folks. Golden goal opportunity. The next one wins the game. That's how it works here. There is no draws in Rocket League, all right? There might be draws in soccer. There might be draws in football. There might be crying in baseball, all right? Tom Hanks might say otherwise, but there are no draws in Rocket League. That's what I'm getting at. Wreck Potato able to cut it out in midfield here, looking for an opportunity for Gav. Gav wants a shot, bar down and in! Vengeance, tie up the series. That was an overtime, folks. What a bar down and in. Bardowski there, beautiful shot to chef's kiss. That overtime goal, love to see that here. All right, that was Beautiful setup there from Wreck Potato. Gav, again, 2 goals on 4 shots, 2 assists, and 2 saves. As we got Wreck Potato there, a goal, 2 assists, and a save on 3 shots there. So a lot of pressure coming out from Vengeance this time. Not enough for Imperium. They fall in game number 2. But hey, it's a best of 5, guys. All right, that's what it's all about. So it's that's what we love to see about a best of 5 here. And join me for the rest of the cast here. We will have Hypertension, the producer, to get his thoughts on it. Hyper, how are you feeling about this series here? Now that we're kicking off game number 3. We'll get Hyper in here to hear his thoughts as we have game number 3 kicking off. Dr. No School gets the shot off. Game number 1. Goal number 1 here in game number 3. And we'll get Hypertension in here to hear his thoughts. He's been the producer with me in my ear. Let us know how we're doing tonight, folks.
And tonight we're doing a little bit good. I would say we're doing pretty good. We have this very exciting match as we did see Vengeance just score, and now they're back at it.
Absolutely. Vengeance, they had a struggle in game number 1 there. There was, no goals on net there. It's a little salty, I feel. And they certainly came back with a vengeance, you could say, in game number 2.
Yeah, they absolutely did, and this came from a team that absolutely dominated tactical banditry a few weeks ago. So to see them go goalless was very surprising for me as someone who's been watching every single one of these games. And now we are seeing Vengeance with that lead, trying to see if they can get it onto the Imperium half, but Iota's been so good on the defense thus far.
Yeah, Imperium absolutely doing a lot defensively here. The defense, I think, slipped a little bit in game number 2, and here they are down in a deficit. 1-0 with 4 minutes left to go, but it's early in game number 3, and I always view that game number 3, it's the crux of the match. If you win game number 3, my John Maddenism is if you win game number 3, you're tend to win the entire series there.
It's always funny whenever people reference John Madden because he's remembered, a lot of times for his broadcasting career, when a lot of his practices are like, don't do this 101 for broadcasters. Like they teach us in school, hey, John Madden, don't do that.
Right. Because it's like you speak the obvious, and people are like, "Oh my God, he's a savant," and really, it's like, no, it's just it's the obvious thing. There's no real insight there.
None whatsoever here. So we are just seeing a very steady back and forth. As shot on goal attempted from Wally, but blocked out by Gav there.
Yep. As you see, Vengeance looking for another attempt. Altruism getting out to midfield here. Gets past 1 defender, gets past 2 defenders, got an open net to look at here. Going to find a shot for Iota, and that's going to go in. Tied game there. There was a defender on the back line there, but a simple pass and catch there. And Iota gets business done.
Yeah, Wrecked Potato was just a second too late. If he had gotten just a little bit more air under that ball, he could have actually deflected it out of the goal. Instead, all he did is he served as a launch pad for the ball to be sent directly up into that far left corner. And my biggest question is, what was Gav just doing there, sitting in the goal, just kind of just wheels in his hand, watching them score like that?
Well, see, that I can tell you, as a player that's been in that sort of situation, when you're kind of in a 2v1 situation there, because Wreck Potato was not going to get back in time for that save there. It's hard to do as Wally gets a great, look at this double touch. I want to see this again here. Hold up. Excuse myself, because look at this beautiful acrobatics from Wally, the double touch around Wreck Potato. Imperium with 2 impressive goals there. Back to Imperium's first goal. With Gav just sitting on the goal line there, he's trying to defend as much of that goal as possible. And he's in a 2v1 situation. That pass there over to Iota from I forget who it was that sent it. Either way, the pass there earlier was basically he wasn't sure where that shot was going to come from, and so he tried to be as strong and as big as possible in that goal. And unfortunately, cars are very small, goal very big, and that's the long and the short of it.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It's the problem that we see in every single version of a variety of soccer or football, as we would see it is now. It looks like it's going to be Imperium once again on the attack, but good thing on Dr. No School to get it out. Wally there for the defense. I'm really expecting Wally here to be able to get involved at the end because he's been so aggressive here in the first half of this game.
He has, and that's the thing you got to wonder about with each team. Who's really the X factor coming into this matchup here? I mean, Wally certainly, there's times where it feels like he's kind of disappeared. or altruism was certainly contained in game number 2. So the question is like, who's the X factor, the difference maker for their squad? Because we all know all these players here are playing at a very elite levels here, but there's always that one player that's just that got that extra special spiciness, that special something to really set their team over the top.
Absolutely. Now there was a destruction going on there. There's another one. This will give them a short advantage, but right now ImPerium open net.
Open nets are the hardest things to hit in Rocket League, and that was well proven there by Wally Iota trying to put the mop and bucket in. Not going to happen as that one gets saved away. Final minute now, ImPerium maintaining a 1-goal lead. They like the 1-goal leads, I think. You know, they're not too comfortable when too many goals start getting scored there. I think that they kind of lose their defensive shape when too many goals are let in there, because they get I would almost say that it seems like they get flustered when too many goals are scored on either end here. As this one drops in for Gav, it's 2-2, tied ball game, 35 seconds.
Yeah, great goal there from Gav, just coming around the side. He knew Iota wasn't out of it, so just easy layup there because he did not get enough air to knock that ball higher into the air so his team could do. Iota just not having the boost and Gav being in the right place at the right time.
Right place at the right time. Sometimes that's all you need in life, just to be in the right place at the right time. Sometimes it's about who you know, sometimes it's about how you hit the ball. These are life tips we're giving kids, all right? So jot that down, all right, for your next job interview. Dr. No School says, listen, you don't need school to win that job interview. You just need to know how to hit the ball really hard in the back of the net to take the lead here with 20 seconds left to go. Vengeance.
And that was such a pretty placement on that shot, too. You really could not have gotten any better there. Threading the needle right over the head of Wally. And as a result, it does put them up. Question is, can they manage to keep this lead? Because ImPerium have been known to score quickly in this series. As you said, they started second game with, what, 7-second goal?
Yeah, absolutely. 7-second goal there, but final few seconds in game number 3. And it looks like Team Vengeance will be able to come out with the victory, assuming I'm not called a liar by Team ImPerium, who forced overtime. 0 seconds. No, it will be Vengeance with match point.
That it will. That will take.
Right, and like that's the thing about with series like this, is always about next man up. The last time we saw Vengeance, it was Wrecked Potato, like I said, who kind of really popped off for his squad there against their opponents that time. But this time you're seeing it. Dr. No School seems to be the one for them. But I want to see what happens here. Game number 4. We know now that backs are up against the wall here for the ImPerium, and the Imp Simps are getting a little quiet there in the chat. So if they're out there, I think their team certainly needs to hear their support to really cheer them on in game number 4.
Yeah, and I feel bad because the best bit of analysis that I've done thus far, which isn't saying much, was cut out on that audio thing. Damn it! But as you said, the side of ImPerium, they need to recover in the second game right here, but they need to start by getting the ball over onto the side of Vengeance's court. If they can pressure the side of Vengeance, they might be able to just catch them slipping in one little spot and then just put themselves up, because when they're playing with the lead, most of the time they can afford to play defensive as opposed to playing super aggressive.
Well, M-Sims have been heard loud and clear to hear Hyper. Hopefully they can still hear you. Chad, if you can still hear Hyper, clap your hands, all right? As you see, now 4 minutes left to go on the clock here. Still scoreless draw as Wally looking to send it into the corner here for ImPerium. Dr. No School now sends it back the other way. A little tete-a-tete right now, essentially, between these two squads. Neither one really maintaining a lion's share of possession. There's a little bit of that feeling out process. Feels very similar to game number 1 here, where, game 4, Vengeance know if they win this, it's going to be it's going to be a winnable situation. They win, obviously, but ImPerium, they know, hey, we need to win this game to force game 5 to keep our undefeated streak alive.
Yeah, both these teams looking to stay undefeated on the season, looking to top their division. But only one can really get out of this, and right now, Vengeance have, as we've said before, they have that 2-1 lead. But it is ImPerium on the offense here in this play. Iota not in the placement, though, to be able to serve it out.
Certainly. 3 minutes left to go. Dr. No School trying to get some pressure up for Naked Rex Potato. Almost said Naked Potato. That is an entirely different video game there. As you see Gav looking for some control here in the blue corner. Sends it out to midfield, finding Rex Potato. The shot coming in from Rex Potato. Not going to happen, says Altruism. Altruism and Iota trying to work together now to send this for the first goal, as this one's going to be cut out here. Again, a lot of opportunities, but nothing final. The final third seems to be missing for both teams here. It's like they've gone a little goal shy here in game number 4.
And in particular, I think the side of Vengeance have been absolutely immaculate on defense thus far, particularly Dr. No School, who has been guarding that net like he is a mama bear protecting her cubs. It is insane how many shots he has blocked here. I want to say it's somewhere around like 6 or 7 that he's blocked thus far in this game.
Good, great savior medal there is always to have and be important there to get those saves. However, scoring goals more important than saving them, I would say.
True.
If you're a scoreless draw with 2 minutes left to go.
Looking at the way that ImPerium are doing, they still have it on their side of the field. They need to be able to push down and be able to just push past the side of Vengeance's defense here. But it's so solid. They always have someone in the goal, and even then, sometimes they'll have 2, as Tato trying to do some aerial maneuvers, but not quite succeeding.
You know, sometimes you win some, you lose some in the air, as Altruism trying to put pressure in the corner here. If you notice, his teammates not following him into the corner. That's something that I wish my teammates that I have to play with in ranked would learn is, don't follow your teammate into the corner of your opponents there, because that's just an easy opportunity for them to counterattack on you there and dunk on you. So really, it's all about knowing where to put the pressure, where to put the passes here, as this one's going to be back and forth diagonally across the field here. Wally trying to switch it up here out to midfield. Rex Potato will get there first, sends a shot straight on net there. Altruism says, it's a little too easy for me there. It's a no for me, says Simon. And we still remain scoreless, less than a minute to go here. What is going to happen? Do we get a 4-game series for Vengeance, or will ImPerium force that game number 5 with 40 seconds left to go?
It's very hard to believe the fact that we're getting a scoreless almost all the way to overtime game thus far, and it's in the same series as a game where a goal was scored in 7 seconds.
Right, and it's about those adjustments that you make between the games, right? Because in one game, the first game there, it was very tepid there. Neither team really gaining a foothold. In game number 2, burner, just goal after goal after goal. Nobody cares about defense, and maybe they've realized, oh wait, hold on, we gotta care about defense. Defense wins championships, right? As Iota trying to create something, can't get around Dr. No School. This one, not sure if we get a goal here. 0 seconds. Rex Potato says not this time. Altruism trying to maintain some air under that ball, but Gav will send it home, and we got overtime in game number 4.
I know people say that scoreless games aren't entertaining, but this one has been the exact opposite. It has been more so not for lack of trying here. So many shots on goal this game, but it's just the defense of both teams has been flawless. There has not been a single thing coming even close to scoring in this game.
Right, absolutely, yeah. Both teams really stopped defensively here. I think that maybe they realized that they need to focus a little more on it there, as we'll see.
Okay, that was the closest one yet.
Yeah, that was close. But overtime here, 30 seconds left to go. These overtimes, they have to go real quick, or they can drag on for what seems to be ages at a time there. We'll see how this one shapes up, as Rex Potato can't get the pressure off against the Wally. Dr. No School dropping down to nobody, as Wally is there to make the stop. Altruism gets bumped off by Gav here. An opportunity. Rex Potato trying to find his teammate there. Gets a dunk on Iota, as the pressure. Again, both teams are very well advanced in their knowledge of their opponents here, doing everything they can to keep their opponent out of their half of the field for too long.
Yeah, and I think this is a good example of why these teams are at the top of the leaderboards. Remember, they are both undefeated, tied with fractured memories, and they're showing that these two teams are not willing to give an inch. They are so good here. Oh, shots missed there, though, from Altruism and Iota.
Listen, T-Pain would not appreciate that. All right, he's all about the shots. Like, he wants everybody with those shots. All right, and I think we've had a lot of shots on net here. Just unfortunately, the saves have been better. You know, I mean, as a neutral observer, the saves have been better. That's the unfortunate part. I mean, but also fortunately, we get free Rocket League, guys. All right, you know, we're a minute 45 into this one. A shot comes in from Gav, denied there by Wally. An opportunity for the counterattack can be denied. Gav gets back in time and tries to find Wreck Potato on the wall here. Looks for the bump on Altruism. Gav can't get around Altruism. It still remains 0-0. 2 minutes into overtime.
Yeah, this overtime is now almost half as long as the game itself was. And then yet again, there was another shot, open goal. The ball was just flying way too fast past the side of Vengeance. There's still nothing coming anywhere close except for that one shot that we saw earlier.
And also, yeah, a cheers. That is correct. It was Lil Jon. I was testing you. You're correct. You get an A. You pass the test. Calculated, all right? Calculated.
You see, when you said shots, I was thinking of LMFAO's. No, that is Lil Jon. Dang.
Wow. See, that's. See,
they both have. Oh, no. Okay, LMFAO does have a song with that, but I don't know why I didn't think of Lil Jon.
I don't know why you're thinking of LMFAO. They haven't been relevant since 2011.
I don't know. I have crap taste in music.
I mean, no contest from here. Shot here, denied by Altruism, sends it down in the corner here. Wreck Potato gonna take advantage of it here. 3 minutes of overtime here, folks. It's just free Rocket League. It's free real estate, all right? Yeah, they say we don't care about the League of Legends. We don't care. We got another match tonight here. It's free real estate. We're gonna play this match as long as it takes here. Wreck Potato into the corner. Opportunity here, not gonna happen. Nobody's home for that one. He's gonna look for the demo. Wally wise to it. Out to midfield here, Wreck Potato and Wally battling. This is dangerous here. Here comes Iota with the shot, denied by Wreck Potato.
Ooh, and beautiful prediction there, knowing exactly where that ball was going to be, going to the back of net and just doing that loop. Perfect defense there by the side of Vengeance once again.
I'm just glad that I made a cheers, night. I let him know that he's okay. He passed the test. It's okay. We don't always brain good, but when we do, it's okay.
Yeah.
Wally with a shot, Gav with the save there. That one was very dangerous. I like the spunk. I like the tenacity there from Wally by Iota. Not trying to end this one yet, as we still 4 minutes of overtime, guys. 4 minutes. Monka S, what are you talking about, Monka S? Listen, it's not a Sag, all right?
Yeah, this series is already about the length of a full best of 5, and we're not even into Game 5 yet, ladies and gentlemen, here. And it's right now, it's on Vengeance. If they want to close it out, this is the time, because if you lose in this sort of situation, this can crash your mental state and cost you a potential Game 5.
Yeah, you know what? You're darn skippy, too. So that's the question for me. Here is your prediction. Do you think that it will be ImPerium that force a Game 5, or do you think Vengeance can clutch it out? Can they, seize up and clutch it?
I mean, the way that Vengeance is playing, I think that they'll eventually be able to pass ImPerium's defense before ImPerium passes theirs. But again, ImPerium has surprised me thus far in the series, so it's so up in the air. The bigger question for me is, again, will Vengeance's mental be okay if they end up losing this incredibly long Game 5? Game 4, because going into Game 5 after that, just after those long games, oftentimes we could see teams drop, and there it is!
There it is! Gav getting the overtime winner. Game, set, match! Your winners, still undefeated, is Vengeance in an overtimer. Man, I was gonna say, those controllers gotta be feeling sweaty there, like they're a hot coffee pot. Like Eminem, palms are sweaty there. Heart beating 150 beats per minute there for Hoppa. But Vengeance get the victory here, ladies and gentlemen. And that's gonna set us up for Bethany College Blue, the Swedes, as they get ready to take on Black Mamba Esports. We're gonna roll this ship right along here, all right, folks? We're going to keep rolling that chariot along. That's right. We are going to go straight into Sea Shanty because it's all about the Bethany College Blue Swedes. I don't know if we're going to really do Sea Shanties. If you guys want to do Sea Shanties.
I think my biggest thing about sea shanties are, do they counter to DMCA?
No, they don't, because you know, they've been around for over 100 years. There's no copyright on them there, so they're totally free. Like unless, like, you know, it's from a soundtrack like Assassin's Creed Black Flag. But other than that, Black Mamba Esports,
That's where I know
Bethany
most of mine
College.
from.
See, there you go. Don't worry. No, I've got you. I've got that Renaissance Festival background. I got you. I got you. All right. I'll teach you. You know, they're very easy songs to remember, because that's what they're about. It's about finding your rhythm as you're rowing a boat or hoisting sails. Or
What's your
so on and
favorite
so
sea
forth.
shanty?
Favorite sea shanty there? Like the Wellerman is very popular right now here, but shoot, I'd have to say, um, yeah, roll it. Yeah, Dropping Nelson's Blood. Dropping Nelson's Blood is a good one there. Dropping Nelson's Blood.
You see, my favorite
Um,
is what's it? I want to say it's called Lever Johnny.
Oh yeah, Lever, Johnny Lever. Yep,
Hmm?
that's a good one.
What I also learned
But
from
yeah,
Assassin's Creed.
hey, you know, it's all about that education. We're here to educate here. But game number one, Bethany College, they come in with an 0-3 start to the season. Not the best start there. Black Mamba Esports 1-2, also not the greatest, but this is an opportunity for both these teams to turn their forces around. If Black Mamba Esports come out with a victory here, they are even at 2-2. Meanwhile, Bethany College, hey, they're looking for that first W. If you're looking for that first dub, you got to be feeling pretty hungry. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. And for Black Mamba, it's actually even crazier because of the fact that they've actually played, in my opinion, the stronger competition here, because they have faced off against Intense, they faced off against Untamed, and then they also lost to the side of Team Voltseed, you know, one of our reigning playoff teams, versus the side of Bethany, who played against 16-bit. They played against. Oh, wait, no, never mind. Bethany definitely has the harder schedule because they played against Monkey Boy.
Fair enough, yeah. And Monkey Boy absolutely dunked on just about everybody when they played on the streams there. Team Volted, though, undefeated here. Monkey Boy 3-1. Untamed Esports, like Monkey Boy, Untamed, and Intense are all tied for second place currently. And then again, this is week 3, week 4,
Week 4.
Week 4. Yeah, I can count to potato. It's fine. I can count direct to potato, obviously. But game number 1 is ready to go here, so we will kick things off in week 4 on Champions Field, as we see who's going to come out on top. Will it be the Swedes, or will it be Black Mamba?
Yeah, guys, if you're expecting, you know, a lot of that, you know, super defensive play, you know, immaculate rotations, I wouldn't be expecting that here, because this is a different caliber of team. But at the same time, I'm still expecting a lot out of these teams in terms of providing an entertaining show here.
Listen, I personally like games that have sloppy defense on both sides, because that just means we got, you know, we're gonna have fireworks. All right, and I'm not a Katy Perry stan, but you know, I love a firework. Alrighty, like my favorite holiday is 4th of July.
Really, that's your favorite holiday?
Yeah, listen, you know, 4th of July, it's the same day of the month in every single country. All right. I mean, Independence Day is also great, but 4th of July, you know, that's what it's all about, you know? As Randall comes in with the first goal for Black Mondas, getting us kicked off here, finding the defense.
That might have been one of the slowest goals I've ever seen watching Rocket League, as Juiceman barely missed it there. Again, those little mistakes, they can cost you so big in the long run in this game.
Oh, trust me, you want to see a slow goal. Trust me, I've casted golds playing against each other here, so I've seen a few slow goals that are in my role here. But opportunity now to see what Bethany Blue are all about when facing adversity. Again, they do come in winless so far, but this is an opportunity, I think, to turn the ship around. Black Mamba, both teams have come across difficult opponents here, but now it's trying to see, you know, are they who we thought they are, or do they have a little bit of magic left in that cap here, like Frosty the Snowman?
We'll have to see, as remember, his magic only ran so long until they took off the hat, and then he melted the first time. Just like how the defense of Bethany is melting here. Oh, that was so close.
Hercules is finding that effort a little too much for him, a little too Herculean for him, you could say. But here he comes with the mop and bucket, denied there by Bethany Jax. And Bethany Jax there doing a good job to try to keep the defense sturdy for them, maintain just a 1 goal deficit so far. You know, it's all about, you know, when you're in a close matchup there, it's about your defense saying, hey, we gave you the one goal early, all right? That's fine. We just have to stiffen up and make sure we don't let more in here, right? Because otherwise, then you're in a deep hole and you're feeling bad about yourself.
Yeah, and you don't want to feel bad about yourself, guys. Take care of your mental health. You know what I'm saying? Talk to somebody. Be a friend.
So like you know, mental health. You know, it's not, you know, nobody's too big to talk about their mental health here. If you're feeling bad, talk to somebody. Randall, his therapy is scoring more goals, and he's doing that right now as he puts Black Mamba on his back here 2-0 over Bethany.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Bethany did their best impression of the University of Florida football team there, crashing into each other instead of being able to block the goal. Oof. I feel bad right now for Juice Man B because he's been on the receiving end of both goals scored here by Black Mamba, and as a result, it has put them up to a convincing lead here in this game. And there's almost a third one, and there it is!
Yeah, the mop and bucket finally coming out from Rube to Noob there. Rube, I've seen him many times here, and absolutely electrifying when he gets on the ball at times here. Black Mamba now out to a comfortable 3-0 lead here. 2 minutes, 12 seconds left to go. But to you know, Juice Man B here, I think that maybe he's that attacking prowess for Bethany B. He just needs to get clicking here the way that Randall is clicking on offense here. That's another goal for him. Is that a hat trick for him now?
That is a hat trick, and I'm not sure which car that is, but I know there's one called the Vandal, and I think he should be driving it right now because he's absolutely rampaging all over the side of Black Mamba. As you said, hat trick here in the game. He's going off.
Actually, it looks like that was only goal number 2 as Randall
was it
trying to make a shot there. Juice Man can't get around in here, so it would have been Hercules who did get no.
Oh yeah, Hercules did get it. I guess it is a hat trick for Randall.
Yeah, it is. It just didn't show the hat trick marker there for me. Either way, though, minute 45 left to go. It is a dominant 4-goal lead here for Black Mamba. Trying to do some quick maths here. If they try to score, it's a minute and a half left to go here. That's roughly 30 seconds per goal to tie it up here for Bethany Blue.
Yeah, and right now they're getting into about that actually 20-second mark here, where they'll have to score a goal every 20 seconds, and that's just not something you can reasonably ask out of any team, no matter the level, no matter the opponent, unless it's like, you know, professional players against, you know, like the lowest of the low.
Listen, professional players against Blats. I mean, professional players are on a whole another level there, right? Don't discredit, you know, them. They can take on like Plats and Diamonds and do it every 20 seconds. Randall, though, he says, I'm gonna just keep on scoring though. Great setup from Hercules as the Juice Man. Again, the defense not there for him this time, and it's going to be 5-0, a minute left to go.
And you mentioned the diamonds. I mean, the only diamond on the screen right now I see is Randall. 4 goals in the game. He has been all over Bethany. He has been beating them like it's his job, which I guess it kind of is in this situation.
So you're saying that Randall's got those diamond hands? He knows how to hold the controller?
I know that reference, and I can't remember what it is, and that's why I sighed.
Wall Street bets, man. Wall Street bets.
Wall Street bets, you're right. Dang it. There's another goal for Black Mamba. At this point, this isn't even, like, funny anymore, or, like, fun to watch. This is starting to get just almost brutal. It's like watching, you know, one of those horror stories on Reddit.
I mean, I don't do Reddit, so I'm just here for the memes. But what I will say is, if I'm Bethany Blue, I want a goal. I don't care how I get the goal. I just want a goal, because a goal right now for them will really improve their confidence. Rube, he doesn't need confidence. All right, he's gonna score whenever he wants. All right, he doesn't care. Like, he's like, listen, if it's free, it's free. I'll take it. Hercules setting up another great shot there. I think that should be a playmaker medal for him in this game. He's assisted, I believe, on at least 3 goals there. And it's 7-0 now for Black Mamba. But Bethany, they just need a goal, all right? Because we need the Brazil. As a caster, I demand a Brazil, all right, in this sort of situation.
Now, as someone who doesn't follow Rocket League as closely, what is a Brazil? Oh, no, Brazil, like soccer. Okay, I get it. I just realized, yes, I did watch that World Cup.
Yeah, everyone did. Deutschland taking it home. But final few seconds, game number 1. Do we get the Brazil? Unless it's an own goal, from Rube, he's going to say, not so fast, Mojo Jojo, and it's going to drop down here, and we will have a 7-0 defeat of Bethany Blue by courtesy of Black Mamba Esports, getting it done in dominant fashion.
And that was one of the most one-sided Rocket League games I have seen from the little bit I've actually been able to watch it. And that's one that where if you go into it and you're expecting to win that, and then that happens to you, you just wipe it off. Forget that it happened. Just look at what went wrong. And then what you need to do is just come into game 2 with a completely clean slate for your mental. You just don't need to let that dwell on you, because the moment that you let it live rent-free in your head, it's just going to start leaving crap everywhere, dishes in the sink, like laundry all out over the living room. It's just going to be plaguing you the entire game if you let it.
Speaking from experience there, or you just have a really bad roommate?
I was not the bad roommate. Let's just say that.
Okay. All right. Well, and on that therapy session there, we will get kicked off as Bethany Jax is trying to get things started here on this very interesting, we'll call it, kickoff there. A good little lesson acts there. I think we had a name change perhaps, but Randall says, you don't need a name change for me because I'm going to keep getting things done here.
And Randall the Vandal here. I believe that is the Vandal car, is it not? That he's driving?
Dominus.
Dominus. No, you're right, Dominus. There is a car that I am thinking of in Rocket League called a Vandal, right?
No.
What am I thinking of then? Damn, I don't know why, but at the same time,
I think you're thinking of the Proteus.
No, you're right. Proteus. I am thinking of the Proteus, but we're also thinking of is another Black Mamba goal.
Rube the Noob there, taking it done. From a great pass from Randall. Set it up and knock him down like it is, bowling, essentially. Bowling for soup at this point. If he's working for his supper, singing for his supper, he's scoring goals for his supper. Bowling for soup, certainly much more user-friendly than bowling for Columbine.
Now, I don't know what that is, unfortunately.
It's a documentary about the Columbine school.
I will now have to look that up. Last week it was Lime Milk that I had no idea existed. Now Columbine School.
Columbine in Colorado. Listen, there's a reason we all have active shooter drills in school now.
Oh, yeah. Now I get the okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a little bit dense.
I didn't want to come out and say it. It's just like, yeah. Listen, buddy.
Yeah, I didn't really.
He was gonna shoot in Rocket League as Black Mamba have a 3-goal lead here, as Hercules looking for a save. Les Nax can't get it done. An opportunity here as Randall. It's defense and offense, and Rube the Noob. Shooter's gonna shoot. Rube's gonna score his 2nd goal of the game.
Yeah, and right now we get to see once again that the Black Mamba side have their entire score slots changed to snakes. They're matching. We've been seeing it so many times. That's the 12th. I'm sorry, that is the 11th goal of this series. So we get to see yet again. I believe that is the 2nd for Rube thus far. He's on his way to a hat trick.
What is a snake to you? What is the shape of a snake to you?
Evil?
What?
I don't do snakes.
They're little boop noodles. They're boop noodles, man. They're boop noodles.
No, they are nope noodles.
I thought they're nope ropes.
Oh, you're right. They are nope ropes. Crap.
Yeah.
Alliteration, rhyming. I mean, both of them make a good name.
Oh, and they're certainly making a good name for themselves right now as they've got a 4-goal lead here with 3:15 left to go on the clock. Bethany Jax trying to create something for his team, but is quickly taken out by Hercules. Hercules! He says that one was for Phil as he gets this one scored.
Yeah, and
Phil's boy right there.
Yeah, and once again, a great goal from the side of Black Mamba, and the defense just isn't there for Bethany. If you're looking at this series, this is where the thing that you need to work on most is defensive rotations. The side of Black Mamba aren't even having to try too terribly hard to be able to catch the side of Bethany sleeping. As a result, they're finding a lot of open goals, a lot of just players just a little bit too far, and it's resulted again in 12-0. I keep thinking that they did 8 because you got the Brazil stuck in my head. over the series, 12 goals. It's not a great number to look at.
12 unanswered goals there. Yeah, not the best stat for Bethany Blue. But if I'm Bethany Blue, you know, there's two thoughts to go about this, because one of them, you gotta think, hey, maybe you know, we play more defensively and wait for the counterattack opportunity. The problem with that is that then Black Mamba can try to come and steal your boost and boost starve you to death, and just keep letting goals in that way. The other way is try to be more aggressive. But then again, if you're more aggressive, trying to put the pressure off yourselves and onto them, you worry about them cutting into your defense and letting another goal from Randall, who now has a hat trick here in game number 2, 6-0.
Yeah, and Randall once again just styling on him. Perfect placement. They don't make him better than that. Bottom left corner where nobody could get to it. Perfect shot by the man from Black Mamba. And we're looking like we're going to actually pass that mark of the 7-0, because it is 6 and we have 2 minutes left in this second game.
And I think the thing to talk about Black Mamba is methodical. They are methodical in their approach here, just absolutely concerned about themselves here. They're basically kind of treating this like spring training for your local baseball, Major League Baseball team here. You know, they're just like saying, hey, we're gonna keep doing our own thing here, working our own magic, trying to make things work for us, as you know, and just not worry about the other team. Bethany Blue, I think they need to kind of adopt the same mindset and say, listen, you know, we know that they're trying to, you know, they're out here to win as well, but you know, they just need to be methodical themselves, work on, hey, here's the things that we can't control, and what we can't control is maybe that passing between each other, trying to find each other, finding that open space, just like Rube is trying to find the back of the net there.
Yeah, and part of that, right now we are seeing basically like a complete ignoring of defense by the side of Black Mamba, as you saying, as part of that style that they are playing, where they are just kind of practicing, like you said, spring training. They are not giving a damn about defense. They are just full-on aggression. And one of the ways to stop that aggression is if you can manage to get it over to their side. If you have a little bit of advantageous boost numbers, you might be able to actually get something in and be able to stop the bleeding and alleviate the pressure that Black Mamba has been applying. They've been more like an anaconda this series, completely struggling as the screen decides, no.
Yeah, I think your computer there had a seizure for a second, but looks like it's back here. Check the side of your computer's face, see if it's slouching a little bit. But either way, final few seconds, game number 2, 15 seconds left to go. Hercules sets up Rube to Noob, and Rube also getting a hat trick. 7-0 now. It is bloody Sunday, and it's only Friday.
Yep, lucky number 7. Remember, if Black Mamba gets 7s in each game this series, they get the jackpot, which is a smile.
Yeah, and honestly, you know what I wish that Upsurge had right now?
What's up?
Like a sponsor for like a mattress, because let me tell you, I think that after this game, Bethany Blue could use a good nap, just like a nice long rest to really get their mind right. Because they certainly have taken a bit of a beating here as this one drops down from Black Mamba.
Yeah, that's not the joke I thought you were going to make about a mattress at first, though. I thought you were going to make a resident sleeper joke about how everybody's been sleeping on Black Mamba with how furious their scoring attack has been in this game, which makes me wonder how they managed to be sort of this far down the standings. They're at 1-2. Their previous opponents were double-checking here. Their previous opponents were Intense was one of them. They had Hawkeye Varsity, and they also had, who was their week 1 opponent? Their week 1 opponent was Team Volta. Okay, so that actually makes more sense with the fact that they went up against Intense and Volted and lost. That makes much more sense.
Yeah, so they had a rough schedule, but so did Bethany College Blue, to their credit. But again, Black Mamba Esports, they've got the Sambas, they've got the Pythons, they've got everything they need to make a spicy run here in this Octane circuit here, certainly. As you see, the Juice Man B looking for something for Bethany. Not going to happen this time, but a good opportunity going in front of their net there. It was actually defensively. I thought they were going towards the orange side of the net. No, it was defensive rallying. But, I like seeing defensive rallying being a rallying point for them. Ruben Noob said, you know what, the Dominus, too blasé for me. I'm going to go back to that good old-fashioned Stocktain and continue my scoring prowess.
I like that you call the box standard car, which has that just perfect name for it. You call it the Stocktain. I love that.
Yeah, it's the first car you get in Rocket League there. Me, personally, my favorite one is the Marauder. It's the one that kind of looks like a giant Humvee. I put that, with like a gold plating on it in the game, and I just look like I'm a Saudi oil baron rolling around dunking on people.
I want to say my favorite one is, I'm not sure if they changed the name of it, but the one for like the Christian Bale Batman one.
Yeah, the Tumbler.
Oh, so it is called the Tumbler in the game?
Yeah, it was a paid DLC that is not available anymore on the Epic Game Store, so you can only get it if you had the Steam version of the game.
And which just sucks because that car looks so good. All the Batmobile cars just look so good in Rocket League, but from what I've heard, they are some of the hardest vehicles to use in the game.
Typically, I actually main the long Batmobile often, especially during Heat Seeker, because I like having that extra nose length there because it's the longest car in the game. So it's all about trying to find those advantages there. Like the Stocktain, it is the most middle of the road hitbox in the game. That's why so many people love to use it, because it's easy to use, it's easy to dribble with, it's easy to score with. You know where the corners are at. The Dominus there, it's a very long hitbox there, very low to the ground, so you can get the ball high on your car, able to dribble to that one. Meanwhile, you see there, the Dominus able to skip with that one there. We'll see if they can continue. 3-0 already here in game number 3. I don't think we're going to see a reverse sweep from Bethany Blue. I've got the feeling it might not happen, but I would love to see them score one goal, like Hercules scores one time.
Yeah, I would like to see them score at least once, but right now it looks like we're on our way to Black Mamba hitting that jackpot we talked earlier.
On the plus side, there's no demotion, right? There's no getting regulated in this league, right?
Well, I mean, you can't really get regulated because the teams really change after every split. It's more so who applies to the league and who actually does get in. So it's really more of a, if you do performance, well, there's your practice for next season.
Yeah, so that's it. The point being is, like, even if you lose every game there, you can't go lower, is my point.
Yeah.
So really, for Bethany Blue, they are getting mopped up right now, like the blue of a mop bucket water, as Hercules now makes it 5-0 here. But again, it's they've only got, the only place they can go is up from here, right? So as long as they just make micro improvements every week, I think they can really, maybe try to nab a goal or a goal here in this game, maybe a game later on, and maybe even a series by the end of this one, I think. So I'm eternally the optimist, though.
Yeah, I'm going to be the opposite and do what I did in League. Yeah, I don't see that happening.
Toxic.
Yes, I have flamed world champions on cast before.
Does that make you feel good?
Actually, yes. The player was just not playing right, that played properly at all in that moment.
I've got a game just for you then. It's called Overwatch 2. Randall, though, getting another goal here. And it is 6-0 Black Mamba. Yeah, they just announced it today. Aren't you excited for that?
Sorry about that, gang. I just threw up a little bit in my mouth. I am a Season 1 Reaper player. I haven't played Ranked in Overwatch since Season 2.
I haven't played Overwatch since they made it known their stances on human rights and workers' rights.
There's that as well. But here in this game, it looks like it's a they got a goal! They got a goal! They got a goal!
Man, I said that he was the attacking
goal!
Man saves the game for Bethany Blue. We have an opportunity for Brazil with 2 minutes and 11 seconds left to go. Can we see a Brazil?
Oh, I hope so. I really, really hope we can, because that would be so nice here, but that also involves them getting 2 more. Okay, we're going to have a Brazil.
Let's get those Olays in the chat, boys. Olay! We got a Brazil. Now the question is, if Bethany Blue gets another goal, we could see a Barca 8-2. And Bayern Munich just...
Oh, don't do that to me.
Listen, are you a Barcelona fan?
I am not. I hate Barca.
Well, Bayern Munich destroyed them 8-2, so.
Oh, in that case, it's fine. I thought you were referring to something else back in the... I'm thinking of old school football there with, like, old school butt kicking, so...
No. Barcelona's old and broken now. It's all about
Good.
Bayern Munich, the best team in the world.
See, I'm a Manchester United fan.
I am as well, but I'll root for Bayern Munich over Man U, even though I've got, cousins still living in the Manchester area on my mom's side of the...
Well, hey, at least none of them go for City.
Yeah.
Because if there's one team that we would rather see everyone else in the world win against, it's City.
It's true. But man, Juice Man getting Ogbog hyped up in the chat there. Bethany Blue saving the series. We got Brazil, minute 10. Are they just going to kick the ball around, or are they going to go for more goals here? That is the question. Are they going to let another win here? Juice Man off the crossbar there. A little too high. Need to bring that one down.
And we just need to see Randall score his, what would this be, his 12th goal of the series? His 13th? Somewhere in there. If he does it, then we'll be able to see the Brazil, and then we have an opportunity, like you said, at the Barcelona. Oh, there it is! Brazil!
No, we already did Brazil. Hercules just, ruined it.
I thought it was 8-1.
No, 7-1 is Brazil. 8-2 is Barca.
I could have sworn that Brazil score ended 8-1, huh?
So now we need to teach you about the Columbine shooting, and now we got to teach you about the World Cup in 2012. Got it. All right, so 2 things to work on after the broadcast. As we see here, final 35 seconds left to go here. Man, this is going to get demonetized. You put this on YouTube, let me tell you.
Well, it's already happening. It's streaming to YouTube, too.
Rip monetization. Bardowski, though, from Rube to Noob. And 9-1. That was a pretty goal here. Look at that. That was a pretty goal. I like that.
Very nice. Very, very nice there. But no, it does look like the side of Black Mamba, we might actually be able to see them go to double digits. And you're right, it was a 7-1. I don't know why I thought it was 8-1. I don't know why I thought it was 8-1 for years.
Well, now you know, and learning is half the battle.
Learning is half the battle, but you know what? The war has been lost by the side of Bethany Blue. Black Mamba gonna win it.
Absolutely, and just like G.I. Joe has Cobra Kai, well, not Cobra, King Cobra. Crap.
Cobra Commander.
Thank you.
I got one over you, yes!
As Cobra Commander, Bethany Blue has Black Mamba. And on that terribly unfortunate note there for Bethany Blue, it is time for Rocket League to end. Don't worry, folks, though. Kicking it off here in just a few short minutes, we've got Upsurge Premier League of Legends Edition. So for Hypertension, I am your host, JT Displays. Hope you've had a fantastic Friday evening. It's going to get better. We got more Rocket League next week. Tonight, though, it's all about the League of Legends desk. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to send it over to the League desk.
You guys then.
And welcome back, everybody, to another day, another play, another beautiful day for the Upsurge Premier League, man, right here on UPL. I am your host for the League, Ravishing Rabbit, most Ravishing Man of the internet, and I'm yet again joined by the beautiful boy, Mr. Beat Down Boulevard. How you doing, baby?
I'm good, man. What's up, Robbie?
Oh, you know me. I'm doing great, bro. I like the color of your hoodie, man.
Yeah, happened to be a pretty serendipitous find here. Wasn't able to find the black hoodie that I was supposed to be wearing, but there you go. Instead of matching with Austin, I'm matching with you. So there it is.
Hey, that's what matters. And you went ahead already took away from me is yet again, we said it to y'all, bro. We seem to have a string of just getting on more and more handsome white boys, one after the other, bro. So we gonna do you another here, man. The one and only senior cardcaster, one of the biggest names in the Call of Duty scene, Mr. Austin Neal Vince. Guys, how you doing, baby?
I'm doing great, man. I mean, I don't know who let all the Canadians on the desk for tonight, but nonetheless, we're gonna let it go. It's too late. We're here. I'm hyped for it, so I'm always happy to come back and watch some League of Legends for sure.
Oh man, we appreciate you coming back to join us for sure here, man. And I'm excited for it. Like you said, it all Canada desk. So it's American casters. So we literally have the top and the bottom of the board coming out back and forth. Exactly. We do outnumber them by grand margin. And let's be honest, we're just more handsome too. So it's all you, right? Our producer's also American 3v3, but like he's not on the screen to really defend him, so we win. It's fine. That's just how it is. But we're not here to talk about us, right? We're here to talk about the teams you got coming at you today. Before we get into that, let's take a look at the standings yet once again that have updated from last night, though, because we did see a real solid match between Wildcard and and Bethany A. It was quite back and forth beginning, but Wildcard Developmental did end up coming out right on top. And B, you saw that match firsthand, man. It was a fun time.
I'll tell you what, even though Bell Canada, Riot Games, Discord tried inting me that night, they could not stop me from watching that game 3 where someone finally played the Ari. And I'll tell you what, Robbie, it worked. It was a fun time for me.
It was indeed. But tonight, sir, we have the top 2 standings in the Elder Conference going at it in a best of 3, that being Supernova and Bay State. Now, Austin, I'll come to you first a little bit. Just tell me your first sort of impressions between these 2 teams. Like, what are you thinking about them?
Yeah, I mean, for as far as like the initial impressions, looking over these guys and spending a bit of time just kind of getting the background on them, I think this is going to make for an absolute banger matchup. Not only because it's 1 and 2, but there's a lot of hungry players. I think individually on these rosters, we got to talk to a lot of these guys for as far as the coaching staff and some of the players as well for as far as Bay State, and they are really looking forward towards this matchup. There's a lot of prep, a lot of buildup going in towards it to see who's going to be able to come out on top. Because for the simple fact, we do have number 1, number 2 here in the Elder Conference, which means that this could be a massive game that ends up coming through here for Bay State. And it also gives us a lot of hype because we talk about some of the junglers kind of being implemented in towards this one, right? Having a lot of synergy within the mid lane as well as that jungle role is going to make for some excellent clashes. So, I mean, this is obviously going to be a super hyped matchup going in towards tonight.
Yeah. And it's super interesting, too, the thing that both of these mid laners, of course, a lot of these players definitely have quite the champ pools. I think the mid lane picks are also really important because of what you're talking about here. These kinds of picks that can guarantee you that mid priority is what's always so contested. And that's why Azir at the moment is one of those really highly contested picks, super blindable mid laner. If you can play the champ well, you shouldn't really die in lane realistically, and you have so much game setup as well, place making setup, and the ability to get yourselves, once a little bit of that itemization comes through, that mid priority, guaranteed get the push on almost anybody, is super crucial. That's why both of these teams are vying for that pick. No matter who's on blue side, if that pick is available, you got to imagine it's going to be scooped up. But not only that, other picks like the Rise, things with the really good wave clear, because it is all about a push to enable these 2 junglers.
Now, Rise has been one of the favorites for the Supernova mid laner too, but we'll get into that in just a little bit right now. But B, because since you did mention the Rise, and I just mentioned Supernova mid laner, I believe that's actually a perfect segue to talk about Supernova. Now, Austin did break down Bay State for us a little bit, but talk to me a bit more about SN, bro. This team, which I just heard they qualified for Tier 1 to be playing on Monday. So,
Ravi, you're spoiling the surprise, man. I was going to get to that. But Supernova, absolutely. They're a team who have made some moves in these previous Tier 2 Proving Ground tournaments. Risen big, not making the biggest waves, right? But now that they're in Cup, they did manage to make the playoffs. They've been playing really well, and the people over at Supernova can definitely see and believe that. They feel like they're playing the best that they've ever been. They're looking really good, and being able to make playoffs and Cups guarantee themselves Tier 1, which is starting on Monday, by the way. Life sure moves fast, but they're looking really good going forward too.
I think that this squad obviously gets that confidence boost as well. When we're talking about, just having the relief of pressure, knowing that, all right, this is obviously the objective and goal for a lot of these individuals looking to make it to what would be essentially pro play, right? Like that's what all of these guys are fighting for. And it's obviously a very competitive space, but at the very least, you have that secured now, which means that you can look at this at, all right, we can see exactly what we can do for as far as UPL and all these other leagues that we are certainly in, but you can look to build off of it, evolve off of it, and see if you can definitely try some new things here for us. So I think this squad is extremely talented. I mean, we already talked about, the jungle and the mid synergy for as far as what we have here for ourselves, but this entire team as a whole extremely hungry, man, and that hunger sometimes pushes you over that little gap that you need to get towards the top. So I mean, the squad is definitely going to give us a couple surprises tonight on what they might be bringing to the table, especially with that new patch and everything kind of dropping in.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Maddie, of course, does like those carry jungle roles, even though we've seen these nerfs to jungle XP jungle. I don't think those are going to go anywhere just yet. So I still think picks like the Graves, like Nidalee, those hard farming junglers that offer a lot of good scaling power into these team fights are still going to be on the table for him. And also Cavell is someone I find very interesting in that he can play the carry tops like the Camille and such like that. We've even seen him on the Shen. The thing that's interesting though, Robbie, that is apparently he even plays Sejuani in that top lane. I can't imagine a scenario. Oh, right, but they've definitely done it before, and it is a super interesting pick.
Yeah, no, but with the picks that we have coming out forward, for these two mid laners, I know one main match you want to break down between these two teams, especially for the side, especially for the side of Supernova. Sorry, is that jungle matchup, right? Between Maddie, like you mentioned, and going up against Devil. Now, Vicious, we had a chance to actually talk to Devil too just earlier in the call, and he's feeling really good about going up into this game.
He is. I mean, you can see it for as far as the stats, things at least being close a tad bit. You certainly got to give the advantage to Matty based off what he's done. His performances have been outstanding. He's able to take that carry role and really excel it towards that next level. But I think a lot of people, certainly could sleep on Devil in this matchup because he's had now at least a little bit more time coming in towards this roster. I feel like now everything's kind of unlocked and really clicking because at the first couple of weeks, they didn't have Devil in towards this roster, right? It was a visa issue. He's coming over from Brazil. They're trying to get him into a spot where he's actually going to be able to play out with these guys. And I think that with everything that has come through, the practice they put in, the prep they're going in towards this, building up towards, Supernova, this certainly gives us a lot of talking points for as far as what he's going to do. But I mean, the stats don't lie for as far as what he's also been able to come through with. And this is obviously going to be a true test, right? If he's able to match up against Maddie, go blow for blow through all of these games that we're about to play for tonight, then we can definitely hold him a little bit higher for as far as the overall standings.
Yes,
yeah, I agree with you. And it's definitely I think now finally after tonight, we can actually get a fair look at him. Cause like you said, now that he has time to gel with the team, even those first couple of games where things were looking a little shaky, you know what? He finally got through to the team. Let's give him some time to play with here. Now I'm really interested to see what he's going to bring out tonight. He certainly likes playing that Kindred, which I think is interesting. Definitely a lesser popular jungle in this current meta, even before this most recent patch. So I'm curious to see if he's going to bring that out as well, because I do think it has some pretty niche uses.
So let's go ahead and continue with the train here, gentlemen, because let's actually break down what these two teams want to bring out today. We're talking a lot about the jungle. We're talking a lot about these picks, but let's roll it back a little bit and break down the teams and what we should expect to see tonight. Now, B, I'll stick with you on this one. Talk to me a bit more about Supernova and what we should expect to see in terms of their overall team composition and play style for tonight.
Yeah, I'm going to expect, again, of course, Supernova being the team to play towards their jungler. You're going to see a very impactful hard farming pick. Your Olaf, your Udyr, Graves, something along those lines. It's just power farm, beginning and end of clears. All right, I'm going to give you a gank. Oh, after that, no, sir. Got to pick up that grump. You know what I'm saying? And that's basically what that's going to be about. And of course, it's trying to set up for invades as well. And that leads me to Strompist. It's going to be a wave clear pick. Again, Rise, Azir, something along those lines is something they're going to have to get for him in the mid lane so they can try and get that push, so they can try and fight for these objectives. And because Supernova don't necessarily play strong side bot, they like to play more towards their mid and top lane. You got to imagine we're going to see Array play a more safer bot lane pick, a more neutralizing lane. You've seen picks like Senna, Jhin, Kai'Sa, of course, being super adaptable as well. You can play her in a lot of different ways. That's kind of what I'm expecting to see from this squad as a whole.
Definitely moving towards that mid game too, which I remember Supernova mentioned is really going to be the breaking point as a team. So definitely look out for that. Once we head towards that 15-20 minute mark, is really where the decisions come out to play, and the support as well. G Bunny, who's been the IGL for a long time, really even mentioned about how they're really matching together as a team right now. They feel genuinely confident going into tonight's match, but their opponents said the exact same here, Visions.
They did, and I think I'm hyped to see Bay State College because they're looking to draft team fight compositions for us. That's really, I think, what their backbone has been for as far as all of their matchups going in towards this league so far. We also touched on there being a change in towards the jungle, which means that they talked about maybe bringing out some of these news. These Sejuani's here for us coming in towards the mix, right? Which could be very, very fun. Also got a little tidbit saying if there is going to be a lot of tanks coming through for Supernova, if they are looking to try and set up somewhat of a front-to-back team fight composition, that we might get the pocket pick Morgana, maybe even coming into play here for us as well to be able to set up a potential counter. So I think there's a lot prepped, but these guys have a very clear insight that, all right, we want to come through with our very first starting roster for game number 1 for as far as let's see how these young rookies are going to be able to do with all this pressure. That also gives us time to look over all of the plays that are happening for as far as in game, break that down, take that in. You can then go in towards that second game saying, hey, I know exactly how Matty just pathed for as far as that first initial game. This is what we're going to do to stop him from having the attack that he's able to kind of put on towards towards a lot of teams. So I think there has been a lot of strategy prepped for as far as this matchup going in towards Supernova. And again, they're going to bring out this wombo combo type of competition for as far as this very first game.
Yeah, and that's super interesting too, because if that's really the case and they can make those more tanky, hard engaged junglers work, that definitely opens up their option in different areas of the map. You don't necessarily need that carry top laner. Now you can pick something like an Ornn pretty safely. Enchantress support, if that's something you want to bring out, of course, besides Seraphine, because if you can pick her, you should definitely pick her. But now that does leave them that little bit of flexibility. They could play towards more. They could play towards their AD carry more, and I believe that's something Bay State as a whole like to do. So being able to give him that resources with a pick like that, I think, is going to be a really good look for them. And honestly, although compositions where you 1-3-1 or try to 4-1 and play off these splits are really good, I think especially at this level of play, ease of execution is what you want. And what's easier than front of back team fight? Plain simple, and ARAM. Obviously, that's a little reductionist, but you see the point I'm trying to make.
And that's actually a massive point here, Beatdown, because that's what Bay State actually likes to play into, right?
Yeah.
Now they do describe themselves as they do describe themselves as being bigger than the sum of their parts. And when they play together as a whole, that's where they really shine overall as a team. They're fantastic. You can see it here too. The way they all come together, it's like they're holding hands at all times, and they just don't want to let go. They will make sure that, yo, man, no matter where you are, fam, I got you. Don't you worry. And one small tidbit too, consider as of right now, between these two teams, I've heard scrims have actually been going quite in Bay State's favor. So that's going to be a little fun point of contention between the two. But we do say that they are bigger than the sum of their parts, but we'll actually be seeing two different parts today, Austin.
Yeah. This is just, honestly, I love this so much, man. Like, this isn't something we get to see, really throughout too many esports. And I love that we get to see it here in League of Legends because it just gives you such an advantage. I mean, think back to like SKT roster when they were swapping out junglers, between, I think it was Blank and Peanut, just being able to swap them in and out. And that jungler being able to watch the pathing and just watch the moves that are being made on the map just gives you so much of a better proactive type of play you can go in towards those future games with. So for as far as these guys that are coming in, I mean, I'm very excited to see exactly what we're going to get. I've heard lots of talks of, really some of the mechanics that this ADC in particular does have here for himself, matched with, of course, the support. I mean, this is going to be interesting for sure. But at the very end of the day, if they lose this first map, you then have just clear mindsets going in towards, that second matchup. You don't have to worry whatsoever. So I think that this is really one of the best advantages any team could really have going in towards what is a series of a best of three.
Yeah. I think that's definitely a really big point, especially because I think, again, another thing that's a little more towards the amateur side is the mental aspect is a really difficult thing to overcome. You get absolutely dumpstered, demolished in game one. It is really hard for some of these younger players to overcome that. And we kind of saw that a little bit with Bethany A yesterday in that match against Wildcard Developmental. So being able to overcome that, in my opinion, is really big and honestly worth emphasizing.
No, with other gentlemen, as we are nearing down the clock, the time is ticking. So that does mean it is time to get y'all's numbers. I need them in front of my table, and I need them stat. Now, Asa, since you are one of the newest desk members on with us, so I'm going to tell you what I ask Bizarre every week. Who is it going to be? I need numbers, whether it be 407-5 or 1,000-0. What do you have going into tonight's matchup?
All right, so I know Beatdown is the prediction king. Apparently, I've been seeing it on Twitter. That's really the big factor here for us tonight. I think I got him. I'm going to go 2-1 here for Bay State College. I heard a lot of really strong, really just, I think, sayings from these guys as far as what they're going to be able to do for tonight. There's a really strong case for these guys to come in. I think that they're going to close this one out 2-1.
Okay. Beatdown. Same question. Similar setup. What you got for me, baby?
All right, Austin, we're boys, but I can't pull any punches to get you. I gotta let you know, if you're coming at the king, you better not miss, because I'm saying Supernova 2-1.
All right.
Bro, I don't know who lied to you, Austin, bro, but you would know for a fact that I'm clearly the king of these setups. Like I'm getting these predictions right every single week, bro. Day in and day out. I promise you I'm Doctor Strange and Nostradamus combined. So with that being said, I'm going to give it Supernova 2-1. That's going to be it for me. With that let's pass it over to a caster for tonight, Rebel Fox and Travesty, to listen to game number 1. Take it away, y'all.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Upsurge. My name's Travis. I am joined by the ever so wildly like a Fox, Rebel Fox himself. How are you doing today?
Doing fantastic. I've been up doing league stuff since 4 a.m, so I'm just ready to keep it going. Because Upsurge, it's something I look forward to every single Friday, and we have one of the best matchups that we've had all season between Bay State and Supernova here in front of us tonight.
Yeah, me too, man. I listen every Friday. I'm like, man, it's Upsurge time. We get to have some games. I get to be here with my good boy Rebel Thoughts, and we get to call the action here. And it's like you just said, man, we got two teams that are going to be gunning for each other here, as we do have Supernova versus Bay State, and the analyst desk has already hit all the details. I feel like we've had all the breakdowns in regards to the matchup. I'm ready to see what these two teams are going to slug out against each other with in the game one here coming up.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited to see what Bay State's newer players can do, because I've seen like every single week I take a look at rosters and such. They've been added to the roster slowly, getting a chance for some of these younger guys to get some games in. While maybe if you're thinking about this logistically, you'd want to keep in the same roster you've been playing all season to try to make sure you're competing for that top spot, beating Supernova, maybe looking for the #1 seed. But getting some experience for these newer guys, testing out some of the water before playoffs is helpful, because if you're not feeling the success, if you're not having the exact results you're looking for, maybe it is time. I mean, this is the perfect time to do so. You still have time before the end of the season to fix things. And if it works out, you still have time to practice with it. So I think this is a really good idea for Bay State.
Yeah, and you're also always growing your talent. That's always a big thing. We have that discussion going on throughout today and this past week, especially in regards to certain things. And growing your talent is always just a phenomenal thing to be able to do, and making sure that you have them accustomed. But talking about teams that have been growing, Supernova is a team that has been kind of slept on, I feel like, going into this. We saw the whole circuit come about, and Supernova, one of the old dogs, the guards of the amateur scene, one of the premier amateur teams out there, the name brand carries so much weight, has been pretty quiet and has just been quietly building up their strength, it seems like.
Yeah, so when I first started casting an amateur a couple of years ago, they were one of the first teams that I got really accustomed to as being a top-level team. And this split, we talk about, like, Risen was the first really big amateur tournament. They showed up there. They didn't have the greatest performance. They didn't do poorly, but they didn't really have the greatest performance. They didn't break into that top 4, top 8 slot like normally a Supernova team would do. Same thing happened in Big, but as they crept into Cup, my apologies, they actually started having really good performances. This team has started to come into their element really heavily around their jungler, Maddie. I think he is a spectacular talent. And the Supernova team, I think, is not even just like our expectations were set somewhere. They're not surpassing expectations. We just haven't hit them yet because we didn't see what they would be. And I love that about this Supernova roster, that they're still throwing question marks at us about just how good they're capable of being.
Yeah, you'd love to see it too, because like you said, their baseline, they set a baseline and they've just been rising up. We're going to have to see if today is going to be another day where that little arrow on the chart continues to rise up, as BS is going to be quite the college for them to have to go against. Bay State is a formidable foe, and we're already seeing the bans coming out here as Shaco banned away immediately.
Yeah, if I recall, Circus is a Shaco player, so that's not shocking at all. And the thing is like normally you'd be like, okay, maybe we can handle the Shaco, but again, not only did a new patch drop, but also when you're playing against a Shaco player, they are annoying as heck, and they can do some crazy things. I actually have an idea of how I would love to see a Shaco played in consistent competitive play, but we're not going to get it here. No comfort is being given over to the side of Bay State and these new players not allowing themselves to get their feet on even ground yet.
Yeah, and you expect this, right? You want to go ahead and attack these players that are coming in here, that are fresh face, that are coming into this, and you want to go ahead and make sure that they're as uncomfortable as can be. Looking over now, Bay State, they're going with some more standardized stuff. Azir banned away, Rail banned away. So Supernova, they're getting a couple more stronger picks banned away from them, while Supernova trying to target specific members.
The Rel Callista has looked amazing for Supernova. I watched a couple of their VODs and it looked amazing for G-Bunny in that bottom side alongside Array. And Azir makes so much sense in the mid lane for Strompus because it's what he loves to do. He is a rock in the mid lane this season, capable of holding down the fort while the rest of the map gets attacked by Maddie. And something cool about Azir is not only can you play the earlier game with that poke style, things like Comet, but also scales pretty well into the later stages, pretty much the exact pivotal champion of what Strompus is looking to do.
Yeah, and Olaf being banned away will end off our ban phase. Supernova going to have first pick. What do they want to prioritize for themselves? Going to have to see, as there's quite a few power picks left open.
You think Udyr is up there. I know Maddie also really likes to play the Hecarim, but I would have to imagine at B1 right now, Udyr's got to be the decision of choice. That does leave up Kai'Sa, however, here for the side of Bay State. I don't know if it's something that they like to go to over and over again, but certainly Kai'Sa is still one of the better champions. Even after the nerfs, it's, I think, 10, 15, 20 damage off her Q, which isn't the most ridiculous thing in the entire world. It's still definitely workable. This was the last one I was going to mention, is this Seraphine is not only it's a good takeaway from Supernova, but still a very strong champion in its own right. Extremely flexible as well.
Yeah, honestly, absolutely is. And if they end up locking in this Kai'Sa, they do. That means that they do know that this is either going to be a mid lane Seraphine or it's going to be a support Seraphine. Did see some Moonstone changes yet again on the champion list. We've known that Seraphine has been a big user of that, but we've been seeing Vayne into Kai'Sa here recently. Would be surprising. See if we're seeing them pop it out in game 1.
Yeah, that's an interesting grab. Oh, they're back to the Callista. There it is. Yeah, this is what they've been running. So now they might be looking for an interesting support. Also, to speak really quickly about the Moonstone changes for Seraphine specifically, if she's put into the support role, it's actually based quite a bit about your level nowadays. And so, supports actually feel that Moonstone nerf a lot harder than a mid laner, where you're getting that kind of, it goes from 50 to 100 instead of 70 to 100. So you catch up a lot faster when you've got experience compared to otherwise. It looks like, okay, this makes a little more sense than something like the Thresh. Thresh is really good with a number of ADCs, but I wouldn't say that it's the perfect thing for Callista. This Leona is exactly in the wheelhouse of what you're looking for.
Yeah, we're going to see now the Leona getting brought in will allow them to have quite a lot of say-so about how this matchup in the bot lane will go, as the Nocturne currently being hovered is going through a couple other champions here. Xin Zhao as well, a champion that a lot of people are predicting to get a little bit of popularity, and J4 as well. Locked on in.
Yeah, we saw those jungle pages this patch, which took down a bit of the experience and a little bit of the gold. I don't think it was nearly as hard as it was first kind of thought it to be from the initial patch notes. And then even in practice, I think it's even less impactful than people thought it was potentially going to be. But we've seen tanks start to spurt up, I think, in place of these like 3-4 picks. When Udyr's out, when Olaf's out, and a couple of these other really bigger carries, you now start to flex more into tanks, things like Jarvan or Sejuani or anything else in that regard.
Yeah, we'll be keeping my eye personally on Circus as we're going through this last bit of bans, but J4, very effective level 2 ganker. Want to see if you might be looking at that as an ideal situation, or if it might be him just staying, all right, I'm going to be a standard tank and be that for my team. As some of these bans, seeing the top lane pool pinched by BSC and Supernova pinching down that mid lane pool here.
I mean, you got to make sure you don't give them the instant dunk composition with the Orianna Jarvan, because I call it the instant draft a team fight. If you draft Orianna Jarvan, you've got a team fight composition. Doesn't matter what the other 3 champions are, so making sure not to give that one over. Also, I like the Syndra ban. It's good for Strumpus, but I just hate Syndra, so I'm glad she's gone and off the board. I don't like that champion anymore.
Yeah, it's a champion that we do see Strumpus is going to be able to thrive on. Strumpus always been very consistent on mages. His mage game is one of the strongest out there inside of the amateur scene, and definitely can show that if given the options to. So not going to let him have that. Now it's going to be over on Bay State. What do you lock in? What do you show? You got to show where the Seraphine's going or the top lane. Somewhere, somehow.
Yeah, I have to imagine you go to something along those lines. The Galio would actually be a nice flexible pick between support and mid lane that you could throw between the two alongside Seraphine, depending on matchup. However, now, I mean, the question is, like, are you actually uncomfortable with Leona into either of those champions? I really don't think you are. So now you can just pick a powerful champion in mid lane against either of those two. Because you got low damage either way. Galio likes to roam around a little bit, and Seraphine's a bit more supportive. So you can pick something that scales a little bit harder in mid lane. This would be... outside of the Strumpus reign that we're kind of used to. She did get actually some pretty good buffs this patch, but we're not going to talk about that. I'm just going to wait for our producer to stop messing with us.
Yeah, I would expect Vigar, and Vigar it is, locked on in, as that just fits in the Strumpus style. I made a face when I saw the talent. I was like, that's not a Strumpus.
That's not a Strumpus.
But
oh, I think we might have lost Travis. All right. Oh, no, he's back. I can't hear him. All right.
I'm going to have my boy there.
Oh, there we go.
Am I back? Okay, there we go. Hey, we're back. Apparently, the hovering of the Talon pick just messed everything up there. I just couldn't function anymore. But we do see some standard stuff coming out from the Gnar, and Gameplay surprisingly locked in immediately as a response to a Gnar.
Yeah, I actually really like the Gangplank here. It fits with the rest of this composition. When you have Cataclysm, you have a lot of zoning and CC potential in AoE with something like Seraphine, and then also Galio. Having the zone and AoE from the barrels from Gangplank's really good. It's easy kind of to get away from the Gnar because you have some catch potential, especially if you go like Stride Breaker, but for the most part, Gangplank should be fine in that laning phase. The interesting thing to me, I've actually seen the Vigar pop up quite a bit recently. The buffs this patch were pretty good, but I think already, you think about the champions that are good in this meta right now, you think about like Galio gets picked by a lot of teams. You think like Udyr gets picked by a lot of teams. Olaf gets picked by a lot of teams. That cage is such a valuable tool to use against this squad. Even Jarvan with that, the EQ, that fantastic flag and drag combo can be stopped in its tracks if you've got the cage in the right place.
Yeah, especially when you talk about like fighting around the neutral objectives too, right? Like this composition that's coming out from Supernova. They have a lot of tools actually around these neutral objectives when you think about Vigar, Leona, Gnar alone. Like those three champions right there. You don't want to fight them near any kind of walls. You don't want to fight them in any kind of big closed spaces because they take full advantage of that. But over on the other side, I do want to bring out the fact that BSC, they do have a composition here that does say, hey, they want a team fight as well.
Extremely good team fighting composition set up here by Bay State College. Their lanes aren't particularly the greatest because, again, if you've got Kaiser Seraphine, you aren't necessarily winning every single fight. You can poke away pretty well, but for the most part, it should be Callista and Leona Ran. But they're not really aiming for this laning phase. They're really attacking elsewhere. It's actually Galio Bell. I mean, I don't know why I was thinking about that. Either way, it's perfectly fine as a bottom lane, but I think it's still Callista and Leona favored. And you've got a supportive mid lane into a scaling mid laner in the likes of the Vigar, so I think both mid laners are willing to just shake hands and call this one even as they go into the later stages of the game. But what I look at on Supernova side is like there's 3 check marks. Number 1, ganking jungler for Maddie, check mark, yes. A lane to play around. Number 2, Array G Bunny, you got Callista and Leona for early winning. Boom, that's 2. And then 3rd, your weak lane is perfectly fine on its own. There's 2 melee champions. It's Gangplank and it's Jarvan. You can hop out of that. Boom. Supernova's got the exact recipe for them to win this game right now. I think it's completely in their hands right now.
I love it. I love to hear it. And just like that, I mean, there's also like the disasterific moment where it's just like, the J4 goes in for the Cataclysm and the Gnar's like, oh, I'm going Mega. Ooh, hold on. This is now, this room you've created is now a prison and I am going to bury you in it. It turns into a tomb very, very quickly. And it is going to be interesting. I feel like Supernova, they got themselves, you talked about it earlier, 3 check marks. And really and truly, Supernova, they've got a composition I feel like is definitely something very comfortable for them. I'm curious to see how BSC is going to react because they do have a composition for themselves. They have these newer players that are playing inside of game 1, and seeing how they react to this and how they play and adapt is going to be very great to see.
To me, it screams right now that BSC, there's a lot of faith in these players to come together really quickly. We haven't seen a lot of them play. Saranok and Potato are the 2 that were on stage consistently through all of UPL and all the other Proving Grounds games that we've seen so far. And so for me, Bay State College, they're coming out with these 3 new players saying, okay, we're going to see what you can do if you're working within a team environment. They're not playing for these lanes. Seraphine's not going to smash mid. Gangplank's not going to smash top. All they have to do is play through their laning phase and get to the point where they can start combining. The more pieces of this Bay State College team that you've got together, the stronger it is. You've got kind barrels with the Cataclysm, with all this done from Seraphine. You've got a really good team fight on your hands. You just got to get to that point. So this is the testament. This is the chance for these young players to prove that they're able to play within a team environment together.
And you love to see it. That's what I'm all about, man. I'm here to see this talent and see them just, redefine the word talent, right? To prove themselves, to make sure that they can adapt to these conditions that they get put into. But it is going to be great to see. Supernova currently sitting at a 4-0 record, while Bay State College is currently sitting at a 3-1 record here. So it is a big match with a lot on the line between these two. I believe Supernova already beat ISU last week.
Yeah.
So this is going to be them really trying to just like check mark their group. And it's just guaranteeing first place if they're able to get the dub here. So it's not just like proving yourself against this team. You're trying to deny the team that's looking at first place. You're trying to deny them their spot. And that's going to be a huge thing to take note of and to keep your eyes on, because that's a lot of pressure.
And even if you're not trying to deny Supernova, if you think, okay, Supernova can win out the rest of the split, maybe we aren't capable of doing so, you still want to put yourself in a position where you don't have to stress against the side of ISU, because ISU, they're a very good team. They're a collegiate team just like you are, and you know that they're waiting for that final matchup as we come into the next weeks. And that's one of the biggest ones we're going to have between these two teams. Bay State and Illinois are going to end up clashing heads, and those two are sitting right behind Supernova in the standings. So winning this series here, it would mean that you don't necessarily just lose out of playoffs, or you're not contending for your playoff spot. Instead, if you win this one, you're now in a three-way tie for first place, playing up against ISU. Even if you take a loss or anything like that, you can still pretty easily get into playoffs. That's the important bit here. The better performing that we see on the side of Bay State College, the easier the job is for them to try to secure that playoff spot, the less stress they go through, which is important, of course, for those first few rounds, because if you're coming in stressed out of that regular season, you are not going to have good performances to start things off.
Talking about performances, I do want to go ahead and talk about, as we've been loading in, kind of seeing what the keystones are going to be for this matchup between the two teams. I do want to bring up the fact that Strumpus on the Vigar is taking Electrocute. And that is a very much so, like, Vigar is this champion who doesn't really do anything, like have a set keystone, but Electrocute screams to me, Strumpus is seeking blood. There's no handshaking in this. Instead, I think Strumpus might be looking to choke out Serenok instead and make it to where the Seraphine is just going to be away from him. So let me keep our eyes on that, as Strumpus looking to probably burst him down and have just a very strong laning phase. Already laying out some poke onto Circus, I believe, inside the jungle.
Yeah, the earlier laning phase for Vigar isn't always the easiest, so I think you just want to be able to capitalize every time you get a chance to hit multiple attacks. So if you're able to land Qs, Ws consistently, or if you're able to get stuns off really consistently, making sure to get that extra bit of damage to push your opponent out of lane gives you so much free time, more stacks, more AP to punish with later. And I think that's the big reason I think I've seen a little bit of Electrocute. I don't know that it's the permanent keystone. He's relatively new, so I'm not going to claim that that's the case, but certainly I get the idea. You want to pressure your opponent, like you were saying, and turning up that heat makes you have a little bit more space within the laning phase if you get that extra damage off.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal thing to be able to do, because you do have like great ways for the jungler to be able to catch up onto anything, right? Like this is actually like just simple as that. Like Udyr, very great at ganking, right? Vigar, very great at setting up for said ganks. That Baby Rage Cage, very effective gank tool.
That it is. I'm actually keeping an idea on where both junglers are. Like I said, I'm watching for Circus in his level 2, level 3 area, because that is a pretty strong point for the Jarvan, and not exactly the strongest point for the Udyr, because like you're still waiting on stun, you're waiting on Tiger Stance, you're waiting on everything that you need. Level 2, you get both of those abilities, but then you still are looking for some extra damage, and usually you start Phoenix either way, so that means that you're clearing camps instead of anything else. So maybe Circus could look for a window, although it's kind of tough to try to find something here in this early game, like you said. Cage is a good denier of that. Early lane should be pushed in for a couple of members. Maybe this bottom side is where he's going to end up looking, but Maddie's actually going to end up here as well.
Yeah, Circus is down here towards the bottom side. We do see a Flash Force out there, so great on this gameplay. Showing some proudness already, putting the threats onto the Gnar. And both of these junglers are pathing downward side, so both of these junglers could possibly meet against one another, as we are seeing a couple pings between these two teams at one another, saying, hey, we think he's here, trying to see if they could track anybody down or find out where this J4 is, as he's about to be spotted.
And early on, this laning phase clearly goes to a range. E-Bunny, you see that right here and right now, where they could leave the lane immediately. Circus, he was spotted out on a ward, so Strumpus able to play in this kind of back pocket on the top side of the lane and not have any real risk of going down. They spotted him as he's going to walk through, go on to top side, make sure he's not going to get punished by this bottom push from the Callista and the Leona. I think that's really insightful from Circus. You know you can't challenge for this bottom side scuttle, just walks up top lane with the Seraphine, makes sure to grab what he's able to get, and just splits this jungle with the Udyr.
Yeah, very smart, very conscious of the lane state as well. So showing right now from Circus, making sure that he is keeping his eyes on the prize and making sure he doesn't lose out on anything too much. Mag does go ahead and grab the Gromp that the J4 did leave behind here. So a bit unfortunate for Circus is he went for the handshake in regards to, hey, I'll take topside, but there's no other camps here just yet.
Yeah, it does actually allow for a cheater here from Benjani, who's able to come back now. And this should be a slow push if I could see the wave at some point in topside. I'm guessing it would end up being a slow push for the Gnar, which means Cavell's going to be stuck up in this top lane for a good amount of time, waiting for the gangplank as Maddie makes his way up. Going to catch Circus in the act of taking this Gromp away.
Yeah,
What?
he is, and he doesn't even get it. Circus, he has to flash over, but he is in for a world of pain. First blood going over to Maddie.
I don't know what that was in the slightest. I don't know what Circus was playing. Bottom side too.
Yeah, bottom side, yep, you get to see him get rended asunder, and that is going to be the bot lane getting taken down. Galio is the only person left standing there. Both sums heal and exhaust were used there, but only at night used by G-Bunny.
I mean, you're thinking like, okay, bot side scuttle was taken by the Udyr. If you're tracking him properly and you know topside camps are gone, either you see him on the camp or you see him on the map on Dragon or something else happens, and you might be able to get a chance of this bot lane play as we get to see what transpired down here.
Yeah, you can see it immediately. Zenith played in, and that's all she wrote. Oh, wow. We're going back to live here as the Gnar is going to find himself flashless, defenseless, and going down to Benjani. That is going to be a clean solo kill for the Gangplank.
So far has just been complete bullying by this Gangplank. I think twice now we've seen Cavell drop really low on the Gnar. And this mini Gnar does get bullied up by a number of people, Gangplank being one of those few. When you're able to use that trial by fire and that Q as often as possible, that's great. I was going to make mention, Circus, man, like you knew where the enemy jungler was, and all you have to do is cover for Benjani. Like that's all your necessity is here. So yeah, you get the solo kill and Gangplank, you ended up losing a life, and you're down a ton of farm in that jungle position. And then that bottom lane kill also sets up for a dragon. So much got back on the side of Supernova for that one solo kill that's been punished for the Gangplank.
Yeah, it is quite a bit unfortunate there, as the way I like to live my life as a jungler is I like to go fast, and if I'm not going fast, then I'm in a terrible situation. And let me tell you, Circus there had to stand still for quite a bit of time. Not a fan. You gotta go fast, but somebody who is going fast right now is Maddie, clearing out that bottom side jungle there and getting Scuttle yet again after grabbing that Drake. Absolutely fantastic play coming out from Maddie. He said, Circus, you dare? He did indeed. Serenok's going to be here to be able to land out the root, not going to be able to get Maddie with that performance, and he will be able to get out of harm's way.
A little bit faster. If you were a little bit further up in the lane for a Ray and G-Buddy, I know that they wanted the smoke on that one because you had the level 6 ready for Strumpus for everybody. Strumpus was actually low on mana as well, so I'm sure that's why they ended up calling off the dogs. And right now, it is a 27 farm advantage. That's 7 camps advantage for Maddie right now of the Udyr, which is just obscene to start this game, as well as picking up that kill on top side means that Maddie can just start immediately walking into these lanes doing everything. Sometimes Udyr needs a bit of time to ramp up, get some boots, get that chem tank going. But in this game, it seems like Maddie's ready and raring to go to start things off.
Yeah, and that's what you want to see on Udyr, right? You want to see him just riling out, running wild and whatnot. And looking at it right now, we're getting close to that 8-minute mark here and starting to see some of these items form. And very curious seeing how the gold has formed. And you can see, you were talking about it, Maddie already has quite the advantage for himself in terms of gold.
1,000 gold. And it's even worse because like you see this freeze is still occurring on top side where it's really difficult for Cavell to actually stand up in the face of Gangplank. He's picked up quite a bit of farm, but this is just going to be protected by Circus as long as they can because they're trying to work around this Gangplank as this win con for this team. He doesn't have to shove out. He doesn't have to get out on the map. They've lost their first dragon, but they give up the first few pretty easily because they're reliant on this team composition, team fighting eventually, but the damage backbone is this GP. Getting him out of the laning phase is the most important thing. That's why CSN is attacking the bottom side.
Yeah, and it is going to be a dive that is going to be hard for anybody to get out of. The Baby Rage cage will lock you down underneath your tower, and that is an easy 2 kills picked up by Supernova.
We actually have 2 champions now that fit the mold of run, stun, done. We've got the Udyr who very quickly does that with that E button. But also you have the Vigar who does it with the cage, where he just runs up, presses that E, and now you're locked inside of a cage. You either get stunned or you stand in the middle where all the damage is going to come through. And right there, a perfect Dower Tithe executed. Once again, playing to this very strong bottom lane you set up. This Callista Leona is exceptionally good at doing things. And we've seen this combination before. We saw it with Rel just last week. And that's kind of what Supernova is all about right now, is playing around the super strong bot lane.
I love it too because it's basically they're playing around with a fully loaded gun at this point in time, right? They are pointing the gun at the bot lane of Bay State, and they are making sure to pull the trigger whenever they can. And Kalista Leona, that is a deadly combination to be able to have on the bot side. And I'm going to be looking for them to continue doing this. We have a minute and a half until the net straight comes up, and that's going to be a very huge point because of how strong this is. But we do see the Cataclysm coming out. Strumpus gets out of that with ease, though, with a flash.
Yeah, Circus didn't have to burn his flash, which I think is actually really important because A, Vygar is very mobile, and B, that means that Circus can try to force an engagement later, but he's just getting completely outrun by Maddie right now, man. The plays 31, 35 farm down, and he might lose his blue buff here to Serenok, just wanting to give that one over so he can continue to push up against Strumpus. This is horrifying for Circus right now, being down so much gold and experience to this Udyr who's just running the map right now. The only win condition that currently exists is this Gangplank, but I don't think they're getting him ahead fast enough. They're really struggling to find things. I think they got to start forcing these big engagements of 3, 4, even 5 members just to try to pull gold off the map. Otherwise, you're just kind of giving it away.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you, and it kind of comes back into the fact of what makes Jarvan a weird champion inside the jungle. A lot of people are used to being able to just farm up a bit, but this is one of those champions. You need to have those ganks to be successful, and Circus has not found a point for him to be successful just yet. He's looking for a possible gank here, no vision on him, but Supernova does realize that something is up and is going to go ahead and start patrolling the area, find that vision ward, and they won't be wise that Circus was just standing there.
Circus. I don't think you can actually go into bottom side either with this Rift Herald. It makes no sense. You've got to into top side and continue to accelerate your winning lane, because right now you see there's 4 members in this bottom river. They're going to easily get Dragon, but now it's only just now that Circus is deploying into top side. First off, he could clear top to bottom perfectly fine either way. That's going to reset the Raptor camp, and eventually his wolves will come back up. But you also have to get that Rift Herald down in a position where it's going to matter, and the only place that happens is for this Gangplank, who's already got gold. Everybody else is just completely gone. So now Circus is even heading to bottom side. He's only just started the Krugs, and there's a 4-man ready for yet another dive. They're just going to pressure down this tower, and your Rift Herald is completely equalized, if not beaten out by this bot side push.
Yeah, and you can see here, he is looking for some place to go ahead and drop this Herald somewhere. He's actually going to end up opting for mid lane, it looks like here. J4 trying to, but Maddie is here to stop it, as it's going to be the cage coming in. Cataclysm being able to connect onto Maddie. He is going to be able to dash around. Beautiful movement. The Flag and Drag not going to be able to connect. And this is just going to be an easy 2-man pickup as Supernova finds themselves 2 in the mid lane.
Run, stun, done. Run, stun, done. It's just what rinse and repeat every single time they want to. Also, it seemed like Serenok and Circus were just a bit off. If you try to get both of them within one, instance of the Cataclysm, maybe you can use some AoE in that fight. But instead, it's just more kills. Shutdown of Circus when he's got this Rift Herald. So now you can't even put it top side effectively. Bottom side wasn't end up diving, but you still have pressure there with Kalista. Now Cavell's been able to push out effectively because there's been no jungle pressure, and this range champion can just bully these minions out. Man, there is nowhere on the map that Bay State is succeeding very well right now.
By the way, I want to point out the itemization that's coming out from this Vygar right now.
Fast.
Newly itemized, got that Cosmic Drive, and now has Moby Boots. This is a fast. You were talking about running and gunning. This man is full on sprinting at you.
He is. And it's cool because, like, if you think about it, like, Cosmic Drive is now locked behind an AP barrier. And this is one of the, I think it's actually the only champion in the game who's capable of getting it without buying more items. You just get the AP as we get this topside fight, and that's just a dead Gangplank.
Yeah, the dead Gangplank. Circus looking like he was going to be up next on the list, but not in range of the Primordial Burst. One charge will be able to connect off, get a couple plates shaved off there. But Bejuani, the strongest member of Bay's team right now, going down. Not what they want at this current moment in time.
Yeah, and then Johnny was supposed to get that gold too. It's a disaster because that's just going to go into the pocket of Circus. And what is he going to do? He's got this Iron Spike whip, but man, he's not tanky. He doesn't do a lot of damage. He can't sustain with Gordranker yet. It just seems like they're lost all over the place, and that at any point Supernova can strike across the map. I think this is perfectly what is intended to be played by the side of Supernova. As Bay State, they're like struggling for air with this team fighting composition that has not worked anywhere in the early game.
Yeah, head currently underwater, trying to get up their head above to get a couple gasps in. Currently, we are getting close to that 14-minute mark. It is 7-1 currently, with a 4K difference between these teams in favor of Supernova. We'll have to continue to see what this will be, because Supernova, really and truly, they've been playing to their game plan exactly the way they want to play, and Bay has to figure out a way to contest that, because Supernova has just controlled the entire tempo of this game from the start to now.
I really love that Strumpus also went for Moby Boots just for the run and gun strategy.
Yeah.
He's just getting stuns everywhere. Like, man, like you know how hard it is to deal with an Udyr already, but now you have somebody just as fast with all this mobility following with that AoE stun to put it. Like, what are you supposed to even do if you get caught out by something? Like, you just die there. That's so unfortunate.
Yeah, you even saw the Flash being burned by Admiral Potato. He had to get out of harm's way there, and the Galio in a troublesome spot there. Can't even do anything. Circus not going to be able to even farm his own wolf. Strumpus just kills Seraphine off on the side of the screen there. It is absolute pain for Bay right now. Supernova has just ran wild with all the advantages they have found.
Yeah, 15 minutes, 5,000 gold lead is absolutely no stack of gold to deal with. And now even bottom lane, that's even the Gangplank who's starting to actually get outclassed by the Gnar a little bit. Cavell doing a good job right there. It looked like into Benjani. And they could set up around this next Rift Herald if they really wanted to. It looks like Circus is going to make one more attempt at this top side to try to keep the Gangplank involved. But if that goes poorly, I don't see this ending very well.
Yeah, Cage is down. No event horizon for Strumpus at this current moment in time. But we do have a gank coming over here to the top side. Benjwani trying to see if he can fight this out with Circus. Good flag and drag to be able to connect there. So that's going to be a kill onto the Gnar. But while this is happening, the rest of the map is being ravished by the side of the Supernova. And Drake is spawning in the next 10 seconds.
You get a bit of gold back onto Benjani, but
Look
yeah,
how fast his finger is.
Wait, what?
Look how fast he is.
He's outrunning G-Money right now.
Legs.
The only thing he's missing is Predator right now. He can just run from mid lane via top lane before teleporting.
Benjani is going to get jumped into. Destiny is a calling. Array is going to be able to pick that up with G-Bunny. Fast roam there, easy as can be. And this is going to be a Drake that's going down. The side of Bay is looking to try and contest this, but Fatty is going to be over here, has the smite advantage. There is 3 men over here, but you're not going to be able to catch this man. Not today.
Yeah, I don't think they're actually catching anybody in this game. I wouldn't be surprised. This is like, how do you catch like already the move speed on the combination of Udyr and then like Ligar? But also you have Kalista with ultimate for Leona, and then you've got a Gnar. Like, how do you actually catch this team in any position? You need Circus to hit his ultimate, be able to put people in that the big circle. But other than that, like, look how fast he is, man. Like, what do you do? How do you even catch
this
him?
This is the time to be alive right now. This is my favorite League of Legends meta. Everybody's just fast.
And this becomes the new like lucidity boots rush, where it's just like immediately into Cosmic Drive with mobility boots. That's gonna be a blast. Because trying to hit skills. If you think Ezreal's gonna come back in this meta with like the Essence Reaver and the Duskblade build, think again when people are this fast. And again, no one's hitting a skill shot
the
ever.
Assassin coming in. He's just running around at the speed of sound. He's got places to go. Gotta follow his rainbow here. Strumpus is going to find his rainbow over here in the mid lane. Going to be able to farm up. And
177 stacks.
Whew.
For 17 minutes, like 10 stacks a minute. That's nuts. That's so many stacks at this point in the game. Strumpus has enough from just his passive to activate that Cosmic Drive. That's so crazy.
It's insane, right? Like, he doesn't even have any AP inside of his item build, right? Beside the Cosmic Drive components that were used to build the items. It's just like, okay, yeah, you just met the criteria based off of your champion. This is actually great to be able to see. But over on the side of Bay, they do find themselves an advantage here. Do grab this bottom side tower, so great on their behalf. But while this is happening, Herald is summoned over into the mid lane. TP is going to be able to come out on the mini wave, but this charge is going to be able to do quite a bit of damage here. And Giovanni is here to help out, but they cannot pursue. And why does all happen? And Supernova is just collapsing on the top side here. This is still them losing more resources.
Yeah, so it was top outer and then now top inner that are being aggressed against, and I don't actually know that they're going to be able to get this one. Maddie is just going to sit here and tank it as Circus has to watch, unfortunately. They don't quite get it, but that's still crippling damage on both inner towers and then an outer tower. Wow, Strumpus does damage, man.
Yeah, he absolutely does. He's looking to hurt down this Kaisa a little bit more. The Event Horizon 2 come on through, but here's the flank coming in from Maddie, looking for more damage. Not going to be able to connect with the charm there. Beautiful interruption coming out from the Gnar. He's Gnaring out, and Strumpus is popping off as a result. Going to be able to find 1 kill, find 2 over onto the bat side. It's going to be Maddie just tearing apart the rest of Bay. He's going to find himself 3, and it's going to be a full ace in favor of Supernova.
Woof, man, you can't even fight the Udyr alone within everything else, and Strumpus is backing him up with all these stuns, and the rest of the team comes flying in. This is supposed to be the strong point for Bay State, is this grouping and this potential, but never even a Cataclysm to come out from Circus, or it did come out, but it wasn't even useful, as everybody went down. None of the tools got to combine the way that they wanted to, and even if they did, I don't know that that fight would have been won because of the 3 dragons, the 9,000 gold lead, now 10,000 gold lead here for Supernova. I think this one's just gone for Bay State. I don't think they're really coming back. This has been it's been such a fast-paced game for Supernova. I don't think Bay State's ever really been able to catch up.
Yeah, it's been a game of Supernova ran away with the lead, and they haven't looked back at all. And even if they did, even if they looked back in their rear view mirror, you would not be able to see Bay behind them at all. That's just how far ahead they've been able to get their advantages. Yeah. Look at the item difference that's going across the board here, especially on the Udyr, the Vigar, and the Callista here. They are just so monstrously ahead in terms of just the item build. Like, you even see the Everfrost picked up onto the Vigar here, which is not something you're used to seeing in the mid lane.
If I have to see somebody flash away from a Vigar who's running them down because it's so fast, and you get, what, like 2.5 seconds of CC from your E and then another 2 seconds of CC from Everfrost on a stun, like, that's so much, like, you just die. Like, there's nothing you can do, and he's faster than you because of this Cosmic Drive and this mobility boost. Strumpus actually is just a mini version of Udyr as a mage.
Oh, but here comes the flank. He's going to be able to get a good Event Horizon coming on off. Is going to flash over the wall to keep himself safe from the Kaisa, while the rest of his team is tearing apart Bay as the Seraphine and J4 go down. And now it's going to be Supernova returning their eyes to the Baron and are going to be looking to go ahead and grab that as their prize, while the side of Bay is looking to rotate onto this dragon and deny the soul. You see G-Bunny is looking to go down with the Gnar to try and stop them from being able to do such.
Yeah, we did finally get to see the Cataclysm come together with the barrels from Benjani, but that's about it. Ooh.
Yeah, Admiral Potato, he's just trying to do his part. He's trying to just be that sacrifice that his team may need. Narc going to be able to find that kill for himself, and it's going to be him looking for more. He's not satisfied just yet. He's going to be looking to try and see if he can Gnar out, get some damage going. He's going to be able to get the stun onto Bejuani. Bejuani's going to be taking a lot of damage here, as it's going to be Maddie joining the fray. Kaisa just has to look away with a tear shedded from his eye, as it is going to be Bejuani going down.
I know it. Oh, wow. Okay, they're actually able to hunt down Jarvan as well there. Yeah, the thought process here from Bay State's just like, okay, the only thing we can do is slow down the dragon count, but all they really did was take away from their ability to defend their base from the proper angle. So now, I mean, yeah, you've got Seraphine and Galio, and you've got Kaisa, but none of them have the damage to stop this Baron buff at this point in the game. And even if they do, they still have to work through champions who are much stronger. This is just a base take, and this is going to be first game going to Supernova.
Yeah, Charm going to be able to connect onto Array, but this is going to be the final fight here, as Maddie is looking to lay out some stuns over here into the bat side. Admiral Potato is going to find stuff going on down. It's going to be the Kaisa that goes down next, as it is Maddie who is just completely legendary. Cataclysm being able to come out onto G-Bunny. Circus will be able to find a kill for himself, but the rest of Supernova is getting routed here. The HP bars are fairly low. Strumpus laying out an Event Horizon, trying to keep them off their tail, and it is just going to be Bay being able to fend for their base here. Never say never is the motto of Bay.
Yeah, I thought they would have had enough gold without backing, but it looks like that back is going to be the last thing that's needed from the side of Supernova, as Bay, they just threw their bodies into their opposition, ended up going down one by one, and ended up being in the opposite direction. So good stuff from Bay, being able to stop that push. But again, their base completely dead. There's still Baron buffs. There's the ridiculous amount of gold that we've got right now on the side of Supernova compared to their opponents at the moment. I'm really terrified for the prospects of what just a pure mid lane push with all 5 members from Supernova can do.
Just look at Maddie. He's just running at me. He doesn't give a care in the world. He is just completely fine. He's playing in his own world at this point in time. Fun thing to take note of, Bay has killed 3 members. 2 of those 3 deaths are on the Gnar here. One of those was a solo kill. So the last 2 times they've gotten the kills have been inside of these team fights, inside of these scenarios. But it's been from where Supernova just stays around for just a wee bit too long. And Supernova just gets a few members caught out here and there. Emerald Potato looking for a flank. Same for Circus. Could be the final fight.
No.
Galio caught out, and instead he is going to find the fangs of Supernova across his neck as Matty is doing his victory lap around the base, making sure to strut his stuff, going back, rewind it back. Now, y'all, Matty is going to go legendary kill the Kaisa. Kalista finds the kill onto the gangplank. While this all happening, the Cataclysm coming in, but it's just going to be catastrophic for the side of Bay State as they are going to go down, and the first game of this series is going to go over to Supernova.
And it was a combination of just like Supernova outpacing on every single role pretty much, but especially Matty just completely ripping control of this jungle and this map away from his opposition in this one. It really stinks to say, but BSC, they did look like new players. It looked like one of their first like attempts to play together as a team, even if it wasn't, even if they've been scrimming. And you can, like I said, I'm not going to say that they played really, really badly because they were playing one of the best teams that we have here at UPL, but that wasn't exactly the greatest first showing that we've seen. It is a tough opponent. I'm not going to give them that, but they were slower to most objectives. They weren't getting solo kills. They weren't pressuring the map properly, and their team fight wasn't even that great either. It's really tough.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to my camera there, by the way. I'm repping Supernova. They've hacked over my camera here, apparently. I'm just going Supernova myself. But with that being said, I'm going to try and, after seeing a game like that from Supernova, you can't help but have these colors come out. Even if you try to control it, keep it tempered. So we're going to go ahead and take ourselves a short break, get ourselves ready, get ourselves back into the mode. Analyst Desk is going to be coming up after the break to be able to break it down. So, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you don't go anywhere.
Now, when I said we were going to see two different sides of the coin, I wasn't expecting the coin to just go up halfway and just keep flipping until the game was over here, guys. It was so welcome back to the desk real quick between Supernova and Bay State. That was Bay State, if I'm recalling correctly, but it was half of them because like interesting game across the board from these two guys. But Bill, I'll come to you first. In the beginning, all was clear, and then level 3 happened.
Yeah, things were basically fine until they weren't in that early game. I mean, things are going okay. You're getting the push on Gnar on the top side, top prio. You make that move to take the top score. Like I liked a lot of the decisions we were seeing in those first couple of minutes, and then after picking up that scuttle, Circus says, "You know what? let me go take Grump from Udyr." And gets caught out, obliterated. And I mean, like, it's so rough. You're already guaranteed to get outpaced by a jungler like Udyr. The fact that you as Jarvan, who needs to be on the map as much as possible, I really think, like, you got to focus on the farming. You got to focus on the ganking, especially because I didn't see many flag and drags, especially towards that bot lane, which we should have seen.
Yeah. We got a term in the Call of Duty scene that I think translates to this game, and it's chalk it up, baby. Chalk it up, because that was really tough, I think, to watch. And there was just a lack of respect, right, on J4's POV for as far as, not respecting what you're going to be able to do. You want to get something back on the map. Udyr comes off the base. He's hot and ready, and you're trying to flash and get away. But, I mean, it's sad news. You're not going to get away from the Udyr. Yeah, he's going to be able to run you down and get you. So I think that was really a big problem. Then, meanwhile, while that play went down, we also saw a kill go down and towards the bot lane here, right? It was a great setup coming through for as far as the Leona showing the aggression, and Kalista wants to get an early advantage. That's what we get. That first kill comes through. So right away, you're at a deficit that you have to try and climb out of. And that's not where you want that wombo combo composition to be that early in towards the game.
You really need to focus your attention on that bot side, especially against a lane like a Kalista Leona. Like, they're trying to fight. They're trying to scrap. Like on a minute to minute basis. As soon as you see this, like hands up, like put your hands up right now, Galio. It's like, what? I'm just farming. No, we're scrapping. That's literally what every interaction ends up looking like. And the fact that we didn't see a whole lot of jungle attention, which would have really nicely simultaneously kneecapped this Kalista while also helping your bot lane that scales really well. Well, it was a sad sight to see, definitely. Unfortunately, your GP, who is also going to be a big scaling factor as well on the top side, ended up getting dived a decent amount, getting a lot of ganks. We saw more jungle attention from this Udyr, realistically, because, of course, Udyr ends up being kind of the best of both worlds in that. He can power farm, he can gank, but we didn't even see the ladder from Circus and the rest of
that's the point right there. I mean, the whole point of that draft is to get somebody in the Cataclysm and follow it up with the Galio ultimate. Like, that is literally the entire part of drafting that composition. And when you have then a delayed level 6 from the Galio because of that first kill going over and then denying a lot of experience, you're not getting the chance to get that level 6 and be able to implement what your strategy is going to be coming from that draft. So you're now at a deficit super early in towards the game. Your levels down towards the jungler, and there's also great objective control. So you're bleeding dragons. You're sure trying to get a trade here and there, but the only thing they end up trading is that first rift. What are you getting off of it? I mean, the answer is not a whole lot. So there's a lot of problems, I think, that end up kind of unfolding there for us right away. And then, I mean, as we get to like 15 minutes, right, 4 levels down is then the Jarvan. So like you're just like climbing even deeper, out of this hole, and it just feels like it's getting worse and worse and worse, and it's so difficult to get yourself back in that game.
Yeah, Austin, you and I both played quite a decent amount of jungle. Being down 4 levels is a pain unlike any other. I think at that point, that's when your teammates here, summoners, disconnected. It's just a really unfortunate scenario to be in. A tragic happenstance, as certain hosts would say.
Yeah, problematic for sure. And I mean, as that game goes on longer and longer, I think we knew it was kind of done pretty early on, but like the last nail is put towards the coffin when the ADC comes flanking into the team fight, right? Like that's when you call it. Not too often, right? You see the Kalista coming in from behind, and she's just throwing the spears in, getting herself ready, and she is then actually flanking 3 players. They try to get the Cataclysm down, but it's a Kalista that she cops out, and that's the point where I'm like, oh oh man, like I'm starting to feel for these guys. But the good news is, at least this is the first roster that they put in to try and test things out, see how it stands. So by no means are the mentals going to be shattered for the 18 that's about to come in here for this second matchup. But you're definitely feeling, I know, a little bit frustrated, I think, with how that game had went as a whole. But I mean, the most important thing is to try and erase it from your memory.
Yep. So, Visions, I'll come to you here next to this yet again.
Sure.
Now, with the new roster coming in, right, with the brand new players in Seradoc, especially, who I believe Supernova have not yet really had the chance to scrim against either, so a new unknown factor. Do you think Bay State comes back from this?
I think they still bounce back here. I mean, like I just touched on, like they can just erase this from a memory. I mean, a lot of these guys did not play in this game, so they have no real frustration, for as far as how that first game had went for them. And I think the big factor here is really the thing that I highlighted at the top of the broadcast was you got to watch what they were doing. You were seeing how they were collapsing on the bot lane, creating these dives, setting up those waves beforehand, how they were able to, create advantages on the map with all that objective control, watching where they're, setting up this vision. That's all of that information that you just took in here for the support that's about to come in, as well as the jungle. So I think that's the big factors that we're going to get.
Yeah, it is a really nice amount of information those players have gotten for themselves here. And yeah, overall, you're coming in fresh minds, not a real big issue. And now the I think it's the main roster for Bay State who are going to be able to play the rest of the series out here, which is still going to look pretty good for them. It is unfortunate to have your backs against the wall to lose game one, being at match point already in this best of three, but it's still not doomed for Bay State as a whole. I know it didn't sound great from how we were talking about it briefly, but it's okay. There's still a light at the end of the tunnel. And I think the interesting thing for me going into game two is Seradoc. We talk about these contested mid picks. Well, Seradoc has a couple of picks of his own just for him that he likes to keep secret. I think the Xerath is one that always comes to mind. We've seen it previously here in Upsurge. I think it was week 2 when Bay State brought that out on him, and it was a really interesting pick. I think Xerath definitely has a lot of places in certain mid lane matchups, and he's actually quite strong.
I mean, that remains to be seen here, right? Although we will be the Xerath or not, it is quite back and forth. I would like to see it. Makes it a lot more interesting. But with this brand new roster, we go into a brand new game with the Supernova and Bay State. So I expect to see the same things. But to take us all through that, we'll leave it to Rebel Fox and Travis D to be our guiding light. Take it away, gentlemen.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're back into game 2 here. I'm your caster here, Travis. I powered down a little bit. I'm no longer Super Saiyan, as some people may say. And I'm joined here by my ever so powered up caster, Rebel Fox. How are you doing, man? We're going into game 2 after what was a very one-sided affair.
I think it was super impressive. I think Supernova, it performed exactly to the level we would expect for a team that's been absolutely surging lately in improving grounds and in UPL individually. And now I think it's time for Bay State to actually come out and show what they can do with their main roster or even with these new players. I want to see all the firepower that they've got to try to play up against this team in such an important thing. Like I said, we consider this important. Maybe it's not as important to Bay State for whatever reason, but it seems like a really important game that they should be trying to win to secure themselves in the playoffs.
Absolutely agree on that one. And them putting in the new players right now, since we did have a little bit of some Dragon Ball Z coming in over on the social media, I'll quote one of the best quotes that I know from Dragon Ball Z is, before creation comes destruction. And we did get to see that, so we'll have to see what they'll be able to create going into this game 2 coming up here. You can look that up. That's a natural Dragon Ball Z quote, by the way. But going into game 2 here, and I'm going to be curious, see what BSU is going to be able to draft up going into this next game.
BSC's got a lot of creation to do that after what we saw in the previous game, unfortunately. They got more than enough space to improve on what we saw in the last game. And again, it would be nice to see them come out full force with like Devil and Quas and all of the main starters who came out. Because I think Seradoc was still fine. I didn't like the Seraphine mid lane. I thought it was like lackadaisical to it wasn't that he was lackadaisical, it was that the champion wasn't able to do anything. It was kind of locked in mid lane, got solo killed by Vargar, by Strumpus. I want to see this team with some agency out of mid lane. I think I talked about it a little bit. This team works best base state when they unlock Serenok from mid lane, not necessarily beat his lane opponent or get kills or gank for him, but when he's released out of this mid lane, he's able to move around the map, be it on Xerath, be it on Tristana was an amazing pick. I know they used that and they beat Maryville in a game at one point. I think champions like that, if you break him out of mid and get him around the map, attack the side lanes then with that mid laner and that jungle combination, that's the best place for base state to be.
I love the point you bring up there, because one of my things when I was looking at it, I was like, man, Seraphine, I love the champion. Fun fact, this is I think my last 10 games I've played of League, I've played that champion.
Yeah.
It's a champion that a degenerate like me can enjoy. But it's one of those things where it's also like, what kind of agency are you getting out of your mid lane? And I'm hoping when we get to see, some of the teammates that you see normally from BSC, they are able to find themselves with a little bit more agency with the picks here and see what they'll be able to do here inside of game 2, because they do have a couple members swapping in and out.
They do. And now I'm curious if Supernova adapts this drafting strategy in any different way, just because they're now on red side, so if you pick something like Shaco, you can get counter picks in jungle if you've got the idea or something along those lines, as well as it's a lot harder to try to mask something like a Shaco pick that would come onto the side of base state. I always say that they're better as a red side team when they've got their main squad in, because they have those people with those really unique picks to be able to utilize those counter picks as well. Serenok is very clearly in the game because we see the Zoe ban. That's always going to happen when you got Serenok on the opposite side. This is one of his best champions.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a strong champion, especially when you have the supporting cast to really work around with it. It is a champion that is something to be feared in the right hands. So, like you said, just going to go ahead and make sure that ban is taken off there. Now it's going to be up to Bay State to be able to grab what they think is going to be the first pick for themselves. And have to see if it's Udyr yet again, because he is he has been banned. Bay State actually banned him on blue side, interestingly enough.
Yeah.
Shaco.
It would be
that's not happening.
It'd be a prank if they decide to come in with their main roster and actually lock Shaco, especially at B1. That would be ridiculous. Do not dare.
Yep.
I know.
It's been locked in. Take the key, lock it in, throw it away. Syndra is going to be a champion locked in. First pick from BSC here, and Supernova fall in their court as Rebel. Or it seems like you might have some choice words here to explain some things as we do get to see the rail lock. Then let it out. It's okay.
Syndra is a good champion who has good range CC and is very good in the mid lane. Thank you. That's all my thoughts on the champion, and I'm not going to say anything else. As you now also give away the rel and what would be Kalista also as a potential grab here for Supernova, you can respond with like Ashe. Like, outside of that, like, what are you going to respond with? There's nothing really super good in the bottom lane. You could try to take it away here, but even worse is, like, if you don't pick ADC here, if you're base state, then you run the risk of potentially Kalista going at R3 and getting double banned out of the bottom lane already. There's plenty of champions in the pool. You can get rid of your least favorites. I do like the Hecarim takeaway from Maddie, though, especially since Orianna's been grabbed on the other side.
Yeah, and that is what they end up locking in. They do go across a couple different champions here. They've seen the Nidalee, they've seen the Sejuani. They are going to lock it in on the Sejuani, so they are just looking to lock them in. And yeah, there's a chance that the Sejuani could be flexed around a little bit here. As we do know Quas to be the king of cheese for sure.
Yes, we do. We've seen that. We heard, actually, I think it was Ravish mentioned on the desk and the producers whispering in our ear about the possibility. My apologies, Beatdown. It was not Ravish, it was Beatdown. I'll never give Ravish credit where he doesn't deserve it. It's not fair. Ravish, you don't get credit. Beatdown, you get credit. It was Beatdown leaking strats. Okay, I see. Well, like, Sejuani Braum is pretty common as it is, and it can still flex in the jungle because it's not bad at this point. So Beatdown, thank you very much. But, yeah, it is possible to be flexed into the top lane because Quas does like some of that nonsensical stuff. This leaves up both Kalista and Graves, and yet it's going to be neither. Maddie's just going to say, okay, no Rebel Fox, your analysis means nothing. Instead, we're not going to give you the ball delivery system that the Hecarim brings. We're not going to give you the fantastic bot lane duo with the Kalista Rel that we've been running the last few weeks. Instead, we're going to pick Graves.
Yeah, it is very interesting, right? They lock in the Graves for themselves instead of locking in like an AD carry. You were talking about that pairs together well with the Rel, right? Like you've seen Callista and you've seen Kaisa. Both of those champions be high priority champions that work really well with the Rel because they both are able to go in and synergize so well. But you're not seeing that this time around. So very curious, and this does open up a door for Bay State to just say, all right, we're going to throw a couple bans your way. We can pinch whatever pool they want. But still, they do decide they want to ban the Camille.
Like, okay, so if Supernova has shied away from this Callista and Bay State doesn't ban it, and then they take it on R4, that's going to be the hardest bait and switch that Supernova. If they pull off this heist, then we need to switch 100 Thieves logo over to the Supernova roster, because if they get Callista here, that is the most disgusting thing I've seen in any draft in the last month or so. There's no way.
There's one last ban. Who will it be? Will it be them? Hey, listen. It could be unbanned. It could be unbanned, and they
do not. Do not. Come on.
Do it, please.
Thank you. Okay. Better. I would have lost my mind. Actually.
I wanted the Kog'Maw ban there. You know, man. Just to see Rebel spiral into madness.
My spiral into madness will continue. This makes sense. Right here, yeah, I mean, you don't have like your jungler available. You're looking for either ADC or top lane, and I don't think you want to give away top lane quite yet because Quas is on the board. He can counterpick you with something. I'm not in love specifically with the Senna Rel combination of champions, but if Rel wants to get out on the map, this is one of the better champions to do it. And while like Braum can engage and find some extra stuff, I actually really like Braum on this patch, and they're going to pick Ashe to try to slow her down as well. I think it works well on its own if Rel wants to get out on the map and try to deploy elsewhere. So I think that makes some sense if you're actually looking to get G-Money across the map.
We'll have to see what other failure origin champion Bay State decide they want to lock in. Instead, they will go for the Malphite instead. So, you know, he's like a mountain. So, we can still kind of keep the theme alive as long as we don't look the Syndra too closely. Over on the other side of things, for Supernova, see what their last pick is going to be. The Quinn is currently being hovered at this current moment in time. The classic Quinn versus Malphite, not something I was looking forward to seeing yet again, but the Sylas makes so much sense.
The classic Quinn versus Malphite. That's something we tend to see. Maybe like blue side Quinn into red side Malphite.
It just reminds me of back in the days where Renegades was an LCS team, and I try to forget those. Those were dark days.
you remember No, that was Team Dragon Knight that did a triple no ban because they wanted to keep more champions available for their pool. That was so funny. Great. Oh,
but it was one of those things.
I love you.
But but it is one of those things where we do see Supernova taking this, and we've seen this arising actually quite a bit more here, where Sylas has been getting a lot more play in the top side as like this counter matchup. And I love Sylas's personal place inside of the meta at this point in time. You see a bunch of strong ultimates on the other side of the board. Sylas is your champion. He's your boy. And Malphite, Sejuani, automatically, those are two champions by themselves that you're like, all right, yeah, I'll take it. Let's go.
Not to mention, like, you look at the side of Bay State and you're like, okay, where's their damage coming from? It's not coming from your jungle or your support immediately. You probably shouldn't be coming much from the Malphite. There is 0 damage in your mid lane, and I will tell you, I attest to this. I was there as an eyewitness. This morning, a full 4-ball Cinder ultimate got blocked by Braum Guardian. That was it. No W, no E, no shield, nothing else. Braum Guardian blocked all the damage from a Cinder ultimate. That champion does no damage. I'll attest to that to the day I die. Ashe is your backbone right here, and probably secondary is Malphite. And that's not exactly the composition. You have to beat them over the head with CC in this one, which is possible into a bunch of squishy champions. But this flash engage you've got with something like a Rel, with something like the combination of like Malphite ultimate coming in for the likes of the Sylas, and all this extra damage you throw in with like Shockwave ultimate from Graves and the Senna ultimate, Senna Q, everything else, you're in kind of dire straits. If one of your damage dealers and multiple damage dealers get caught up in this, there's real problems that Bay State simply won't have the damage to continue a fight.
I love the fact too, like you actually kind of alluded to it right there, right? Before we saw the Sylas lock in, we kind of had the ball delivery service of the magnetic shockwave to come out between the Orianna and the Rail here. And now with the Sylas added into the equation, you actually get another ball delivery service with him being able to yoink the Malphite ultimate, with him being able to go in and be this aggressor inside of these fights as well. He's very effective. at being able to do such for his team. So it is a very, very cool thing to be able to take note of. And I love the fact you talked about BSC, right? They're probably looking to win this with CC, right? You see a lot of these champions, even Ashe to this day, you see her a lot with like Imperial Mandate and whatnot when she is getting built.
Oh yeah.
You look at that. Supernova says damage. We do damage. We hit you with your ultimates, our ultimates. It doesn't matter. We're just trying to kill you dead. BSC just doesn't want you to move.
Another big thing is, like, I actually went back and looked at this because we had a discussion a couple weeks ago about Rel being the sole ball delivery system for Orianna. I know you talked about especially Team Liquid Academy running specifically those two without another really good delivery system. And one of the ways that you make that work better than anything is a ton of burst damage behind specifically that combo because of how potent and easy it is to access. Typically, it's going to be the Orianna doing a lot, but when you've got all this follow-up behind it, it works. That's how Team Liquid Academy does it. That's how every team in the East is capable of running it to some effect or to some positive effect, is doing it with just the Rel and the Orianna combination. Bay State have a lot of ways to survive that burst, but again, those damage dealers are what I'm really worried about. If you tag Syndra, who's not a damage dealer, or Ashe, who is a damage dealer, but if you build Imperial Mandate, then you're trolling this game, then there are
I will say, out of AD carries, I know you were talking about champion, you were talking about, not doing any damage. Senna, I can attest, does way too much damage. The Kraken Slayer on Senna is actually the bane of my existence. I played a game the other day. I played as Quinn. I went to go E-vault on a Senna, and before I could vault onto the champion, she autoed me one time and half my HP disappeared. I was tilted after that. I was just like, I'm done. I don't want to play this anymore. I'm not roaming bot lane ever again here. But it is a champion that does a lot of damage that is added into this equation, and I just find it funny. Every time they try to buff support Senna, bring support Senna back, the AD carry Senna comes back, the fasting Senna comes back. Like, all these things are always a consequence of them buffing support Senna, and it's so disgusting.
I mean, let's just be real about this also. Is just like normal Senna, like when you're playing her fasting style, is just a support being played as an ADC. Like that's all that it is. So while it's maybe not in the position, it is just a support, which is thankful. We're thankful for that. I'm curious if Array and G Bunny decide to go to that, because Rel isn't phenomenal with farm to start things off, and you have the follow up necessary from everybody else. So I'd rather see Array with a bit of gold, because having that damage ramp early on is going to be a lot more important. So that's at least something to pay attention to. I was also one of the luckiest, because I think the day after patch day, when it came to that Q change coming in for Kai'Sa, being able to apply on hits and press the attack, I got to see, I forget who it was off the top. It was Evil Genius's bot laner. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. The Evil Genius Prodigies, his bot laner off the top of my head. Shiro, that's who it is. He had Kraken Slayer and press the attack, and like he had 3 items, and on 3 items he would just kill somebody and they were gone, and it was nuts. And we're like, how did Kraken Slayer Senna come out of the woodworks like this quickly? And we've seen it can just become the absolute standard for everything.
And before I go on to any more analytical points, I'm going to express my disappointment that you said keeping it real instead of keeping it rel. I think that is a absolute banger of a pun that you missed out on there. But that being said, going back to the game, we're in here, we're live.
Now, I didn't call you out earlier when you were talking about bot lane performing well instead of performing rel. And now I get cut with no slack in this particular regard. Okay, now I see where we're at. Okay, now I understand where the line is drawn.
Rebel, why do we sound like an old couple? I never say anything about your friends when they come over.
Oh, good times.
But we are going to be seeing these two teams go against each other. Match point is in favor of Supernova here. Bay has all the pressure on them, so they're the ones that are going to have to perform. I do want to see how they are going to go inside of this. I'm keeping my eyes, especially on this build of Ashe. I want to see a damage-heavy build, especially because your team, you have a Malphite, you have a Sejuani, you have a Braum. Your damage is coming from either you or the Syndra. You got to make sure that this isn't just another single threat composition like what we saw last game.
Quas does have Comet, and sometimes you can build AP out of it. Kind of depends on what the room setup is. And honestly, I'd like to see it like an AP Malphite just for a little bit, even if it's just one item or something here or there that throws just a little bit of extra AP damaging. Just because, again, when you're running Ashe as an ADC, that's not a purely great. It's an okay backbone, but it's not great. And Syndra, like I've expressed my discontent about that champion, but itself right now in the current state isn't a phenomenal backbone either. So a little bit more would go a long way. You also notice that Quas is going exceptionally lane dominant. Usually you love Flash on Malphite because Flash Ultimate is one of the hardest things to respond to in the game. But here you are on Quas, no spellbook, no Flash. Instead, it's the Ignite teleport that we've seen kind of arising as a top lane selection for pure lane dominance.
Yeah, for Camille. It's like I've been sitting here glaring at it for a little bit now, and you were talking about like, oh yeah, maybe AP Malphite and stuff like that. You know, if any top laner was going to do that here in the UPL, it would definitely be Quas. But we have some action down here in the bot lane. G Bunny is going to get himself blocked off, forced to flash away there as the damage is coming on through. The arrows rain true. First blood coming over, and that's just how deadly their base damages are on this Ashe and Braum. You have to respect them.
So I actually didn't even notice this because we didn't talk about it in draft. I didn't see the name. It's actually not going to be Potato, who we've seen in every single game for support this season. It's Sword Blue that stepped in, and right there, that's the first play we've seen all game. This is the one rookie they didn't play in that previous game, and it's him stepping in now with Invictrix in this laning phase, trying to make things happen, and already that's solo kill going over to this Ashe Braum combination.
Yeah, absolutely. And it does go back to like one of the weaknesses of Rail, right? When you go in, you're kind of stuck there, especially early on in the game. So good on them. This bot lane is a bot lane that punishes people for whiffing anything or stepping out of position. And you can see it yet again, already taking a huge amount of damage. No glacial augment needed from the Ashe to be able to slow you down.
No, it is not. It's a really good lane between these two, especially now that like the Q on Ashe is an auto reset. You tag that that concussive stack so much faster on the Ashe, and it's easy to follow up because even when they become unstunned, you're able to hit volley, you're able to do plenty of other things. The auto attacks themselves slow you down. Like this combination of bot lane is exceptionally lethal in this early game because they have good pressure to start with, and then they just continue with all this like soft and hard CC between the two of them. And I think it also unlocks Sword Blue to the rest of the map, which is a really, really good thing, especially if you go into Lucidity boots. Your ult's on much lower cooldown now because of this patch. I think getting Sword Blue out and about on this map will be better than Sword Bunny, although Maddie looking at Quas.
Maddie, he looking at him. He's saying he looking fine. That's going to be a flash forward. Going to be able to find that kill, but it will be traded on back. A 1-for-1 there, as Quas did have to use Ignite, but very aggressive move coming out on the top side here for Supernova.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at Cavell and his wave right now because like it looks like you have to think of why he did that right there, and this is the reason right now. The wave is pushing against Quas, and this is going to be able to be frozen by Cavell because pressure on topside was owned by Maddie, so you don't have Sejuani up here yet to be able to break this loose. So it should just be punishment, although Quas's Qs and this Arcane Comet does make it difficult. So I think Cavell maybe didn't think this perfectly all the way through. Maddie would have needed to stay a little bit longer to make sure that you can secure this freeze very easily. Instead, it looks like it's just going to crash, and you might be able to miss a couple of minions, which is good for Quas. Cavell maybe getting a bit hypey for his own good on this one.
Yeah, you know, when it comes down to it, you know, Quas is out here throwing these cheese wheels, and Cavell looking a little lactose intolerant, taking quite a bit of damage from that. Have to see how Quas is going to be able to do, as he has rotated around the map a little bit here. Isn't level 6, so isn't quite the unstoppable force yet, but we got some duo jungling going over here. Stromp is going to see this out and say, wait, there's my junglist chicken. Stop that.
Yeah, able to poke his head in, I think, without punishment, which is very rare. He probably should have certainly died in that situation because the call-out could have been there from Serenok, but instead is able to walk there with no mana and without a full health bar and walk out without even burning the flash, which is a miracle for Strompist. As Maddie, again, this time it looks like they're able to put a lot more pressure with Devil to Grey on the map. They're playing to him a little bit better, and right now Maddie is just looking for camps, pretty much even with the Sejuani at this point. So it's just been a handful of kills that's been traded back and forth, and the Dragons start here from the side of Bay State.
Yeah, Bay State looking a little questionable on it, though. Sejuani looking like, hey, do I want to come bot lane? But it's just Adventurous saying, never mind, I got a volley full of arrows, and Array is going to taste them. So good amount of damage coming out. Sword Blue will roam up to the Mountain Drake, and this is looking like it's going to be first Drake going on over to Bay State. So already a much better look for them in the early game here. Bay State looking a lot more to form.
And I'm paying attention right now to what happens on the rest of this map. We have a minute 30 till Rift Herald shows. And I don't know if I've had this discussion with you, but usually on cast when there's a Senna on one side, you don't want to trade Drake or plates for Rift Herald because Senna does not take plates fast enough for that to ever be warranted. So you're actually the one that either A, needs to respond with G Bunny so that you can make sure you can fight on top side, or B, you have to rotate out of that lane, but no one's there to break them out. Array is there with half health, very little mana, a melee support into a much better melee support and poke-oriented ADC composition, and they've got control of bot river. They're never walking up to this Rift Herald right now over Bay State. I'm kind of worried for that prospect, and if they get kind of bullied to the point where they can't even walk at Rift Herald and they can't get plates to trade even one or two that Senna would be able to pick up, that's an even worse situation as Graves kind of getting infringed on right now.
Yeah, the Sejuani looking to try and jump onto Maddie here. Maddie not able to have that speed in his veins here as he did before on the Udyr, and Devil the Grey is going to catch him out onto this ward, trying to poke him away, make sure he's going to be able to be kept at bay. And Devil the Grey is going to be able to clear out that ward. G-Bunny going to go back over to his tower, but not quick enough. Lots of damage being traded back onto him. The root able to connect onto Devil the Grey. But Maddie just wants to start up this blue buff, guys. Come on now. He's suffering over here. And now there's 4 people here fighting for the blue. It's going to go down. It will be smited away. Fight is going to break out. Devil the Grey jumping over the wall. Nothing too severe to happen there. So a lot of action for just that blue buff and invade onto Maddie.
It looked really heavily like Supernova was just posturing to go in for a fight, but they never really able to find the perfect angle to get themselves in a situation where they're like, yeah, that makes sense. And now Quas into the bottom lane.
Yep. He's going to get Shockwave, just going to be a one-man. It's going to be a decent bit of damage being put back onto Quas, but Manny will be here to keep them from aggressing any further. So then Unleashed Power was not unleashed. We're seeing some damage going down inside of the bot lane, already taking a good amount of damage. Same for G-Bunny, as Serenok is just 1v2 in the mid lane.
It's another roam from Quas where he's been able to poke his head into mid lane. That's the second time we've seen him do it. And even without flash, he's able to find a really nice ultimate. He presses the ignite button, which I think is the one cost here for Stropus' flash, which is nice because now Serenok is going to be up that summoner spell, and there's not much for Stropus to do. He's trying to roam out of this laning phase, fear of that potentially becoming a solo kill out of that lane. And that's more for just keeping Orianna around the mid lane than it is for actually making aggression, because it is a little bit difficult, even though now Sejuani with flash, with ultimate, there's potential to catch Stropus down. So you have to play a little bit further back. Can't quite move out of your lane or push your minions the same way you normally would. And just looking across every lane, this game is far more competitive than what we saw in game number 1. I think at this point we had seen a 3, 4, 5,000 gold lead in favor of Supernova. This game completely tied up. You do have still good scaling, good team fighting on the side of Supernova, but at minimum, this arrow.
Enchanted Crystal Arrow from downtown, perfectly executed with flawless execution. It's going to be Cavell that's going to be jumped onto now, but it's going to be looking like he's going to turn it around as he's an unstoppable force himself. And when you're talking about global ultis, you got Array to look out for as well, giving the shield for his team there. Now it's Devil the Grey underneath the tower, trying to see what he'll be able to do, try and play around this tower, make sure that Maddie's not able to get the damage that's needed, as the Glacial Prison was not able to connect, but it will still be the kill onto Cavell, and it is a 1-for-1 trade. Both top laners going down in the top lane.
Cavell and dying under top tower this game, never better combination. I don't think there is a better combination to be named, unfortunately. Although, the fact that he gets hit with Ash Arrow from across the map, which is a pure 3-second stun, and Lost and Devil did nothing to punish it for the full 3-second duration, is just baffling to me. They were right there. They could have pressed ultimate. I'm pretty sure Devil had ultimate at the time as well, and yet they weren't able to end up trading back with a good ultimate and a nice counter gank from Maddie. And despite Cavell trading, they were still able to get Rift Herald as well on this Graves, who, Maddie, I mean, he's doing really well in this game. He's got now a 20 CS lead and 2 kills over top of Devil the Grey on this Sejuani pick that they went for relatively early. So I think big stuff. If Maddie's able to accelerate somewhere else on the map, this could be big news, especially if you're able to break out bot lane or even mid lane, potentially get Stropus on that.
We have a replay of the arrow here, and I believe this is the arrow that your friend says, hey, I'm going to shoot this over into your lane, and you never suspect them to hit it. So nobody's prepared for anything at that point in time. You can even see Syndra's in the area too, by the way. But nobody's able to look beautiful.
20 ult. Never mind.
Oh, nope. There's a fight. Yeah, there is a lot of action going on over here. Ashe is already dead, and it looks like the rest of Supernova is going to jump on in, yoink the Sejuani ult, throw him in the Glacial Prison, and Sword Blue is now on the retreat. Going to have to retreat now. Devil de Grey is going to find Strumpus. Strumpus is going to be able to lay out a decent amount of damage. Doesn't have a lot of mana, so isn't going to be able to do too terribly much. G-Bunny is here in the area, though, looking to be able to stop Devil de Grey from being able to do anything. But Devil de Grey might be looking to just try and get that kill. Try to see if he can secure something on his way out, but Strumpus will be able to grab it with the help of G-Bunny, while over on the bot lane, Sword Blue is getting jumped onto underneath tower. They're just trying to juggle around the tower aggro as Quas is here. He's an unstoppable force, but not going to be able to hit anybody. Maddie now trying to dodge from underneath the tower. It's going to be a shutdown that goes over to Quas. He's got some cheese wheels he's looking to throw on over. Serenok is going to be able to rejoin this fight. He's going to be able to throw out those orbs and be able to get a lot of damage back onto him. Now it's going to be Silas trying to fight this one out. It's going to be a TP coming on in from Strumpus. They're looking to continue the fight on forward. He's going to be able to put the shield onto him. Quas dropped down fairly low. No ultimates for Cavell to be able to yoink at this current moment in time. It's going to be the Scattered a Week being able to connect onto the Silas, but there's not going to be any further action to go on there, as it is just going to be a trade of lives there. And for the most part, Supernova coming out pretty much on top in terms of the kills. But now the HP bars are in favor of Bay, and they're going to restart the fight their way. It is just going to be the Silas getting popped and shut down. Don't back in front of the Dragon. That is exactly what Bay wanted. They set their sights, and they will secure it.
Yeah, so Supernova makes this really good teleport play to the bot side. They're able to find a handful of kills in their favor, but they just extend so far trying to push for this tower, end up getting this Rift Herald drop, but instead, it's Quas who comes in on a counter gank, Serenok who ends up on bot side, and they way overextend and now give over a Drake back to the side of Bay State. So what looked so good from Supernova to start with ends up being more resources given back to Bay State unnecessarily, as they take a 2-dragon lead in this one, despite the 1,000 gold advantage that's now swayed in the favor of Supernova.
Yeah, for all that just happened there, I feel bad for production. I'm sure they're like ready to like set up a replay for that, but I don't think it's like
where do you start the replay, bro?
Replay for this 2-minute fight. But our production, they're probably jonesing for it, so we'll give them some time to set up a replay. It's all good, but. The Herald has been summoned into the mid lane. Scattered a Week going to be able to connect onto 2 members over here inside of the mid lane. Going to be able to keep them from getting anything more, but the turret plating is going to be able to be secured by Supernova there. So getting some fresh gold to go over their way.
Yeah, the perfectly timed use of the Rift Herald there to make sure they get the plates at almost what is essentially the very last second. This is really well timed from the side of Supernova and Maddie, being able to snag a couple of plates off the back end of this this plate timing. And he's got a Mortal Shield, though. He's actually pretty strong at this point. Cavell is starting to come into his zone with this Leandries. We are waiting on Strumpus to try to arrive. Kraken Slayer's been done for Supernova, so they're starting to get onto these first item power spikes. As we're waiting to see, I want to know what Invictrix goes for, whether it's the Gale Force for some mobility, whether it's the Kraken Slayer for damage, which is my preference, the Mortal Shield Bow to make sure he doesn't just die if Cavell gets on top of him, or Strumpus is able to find an ultimate or something along those lines. Quas did get shutdown gold against Maddie, which does make this single laning phase a lot harder for Cavell. And you saw it right there. Look at his health bar. It's up 40% just contesting the wave against Quas.
Yeah, one of my favorite lane bullies in the game, Malphite. He's just
Malphite's my favorite lane bully.
He can be actually pretty disgusting champion when it comes down to the amount of damage he can. It's disgusting. But here you go, Cavell going to take a play out of the Malphite's book there, but is going to be a lot more successful with it, securing the kill onto the Syndra in the mid lane.
Not much to react to right there. It was funny because it was like an E coming out from Cavell out of the top lane, and then he like waited to flash ultimate until he thought maybe Serenok was like, okay, can I get away? Because if you flash immediately, he can't catch you. He's not able to flash ultimate and catch you. Instead, he just flashes immediately, ults on top of you, and you get burst out by the nice shockwave from Strumpus. So that little mind game right there, trying to burn Serenok's flash, and instead Cavell just being much quicker on the draw eventually is enough to play out the patience.
Yeah, and while this is all happening, you know, we're seeing a little bit of skirmishing happening over in the top lane. First break does fall over in favor of Strumpus in Supernova. Now it's going to be Cavell looking to try and assert his dominance onto Quas here. No TP there, but it's all right. We're in a game of snipers here. We got visions on the analyst desk, and everybody's trying to pull up the trick shots.
Yeah, very nice little ultimate there from Array, being able to find him from across the map. And that's been such a cool thing to watch as like players, especially somebody like Array, but like plenty of other ADCs within Proving Grounds are able to use that ultimate so well. And that comes down to communication. You gotta love Cavell calling that and Array being able to hit that shot from across the map. Big stuff from the side of Supernova, being able to make that communication work.
Scatterweight connecting onto Strumpus. A little bit of skirmishing happening. That phase rush is in Serenot's man. He's a man with a need for speed, looking to see if he can get the position just right. Maddie is up against the wall, trying to see what he'll be able to do. Is going to have a nice shockwave, but it's only going to connect on the Sword Blue. He's currently taking the Herald. Glacial Prison not going to be able to connect, but it is going to be a Vitreous getting the kill onto Maddie. And now it looks like Bay is going to be able to have the advantage on this. Sword Blue is dropped down fairly low. They do have to back up. They need to respect the side of Supernova here, as G Bunny has now joined the fray, and it will be nothing else gained, just one kill in favor of Bay.
A lot of members of Bay just trying to work their way towards this Rift Herald, pushed off by Maddie. They kind of get caught out in the back of that pit. I think he was waiting for that E to come back up so he could find his way over. Had flash, but I guess just greeted to make sure that he could keep it. But they still have to back off because of the health bars and resources they needed to actually bring him down in the first place. They burnt a couple just in that regard alone. So now
here we go. Cheese wheels, break the legs, slam the hands down. Strumpus, you drop down so critically low. The Ignite is there, the unstoppable force as well. Now Quas is looking to try and fight out Cavell, trying to see if he'll be able to find the second kill, but it is going to be just Quas's HP bar dropping down fairly low, and it will be Cavell making it out alive after TPing there. But while this is all happening, a top tower is going to go down in favor of Supernova.
Yeah, nicely played. G-Bunny playing in the river. They saw 4 members in the mid lane. Array is able to push up on top side, and Vitrix, afraid of the potential dive and the damage coming out from Senna from that range, means that they're able to get that, as well as Cavell getting the push in mid lane with all of these ultimates down to mean there's still no Rift Herald response to come out, and now Dragon is spawning. So if you want Rift Herald on the side of Bay State, you need to give up Dragon or vice versa. As the play starts to get caught out, they might get Devil to Gray.
Yeah, Devil to Gray, drop down to half HP. Lots of damage being put onto him here. As going a little bit further, Drake is up, so both these teams, Supernova just looking to try and assert dominance over this. That way they'll be able to secure the Cloud Drake, and it looks like that will be their prize. Real quick, I do want to take note to look at some of the builds as we're getting close to that 20-minute mark. One of the things that catches my eye out immediately is something that I personally am just like, blah! Because it's a Bansheesville Merc Treads game for the Orianna. Strumpus, it's a good build in its own right, of course, especially when one of the major damage dealers is Syndra. But a build that has been rising up in prominence here. Oh, he caught it. I don't know if that's the error he wanted to catch. Maddie is going to be fine, though.
Yeah, to me, I think just sitting on Verdant Barrier is really good on its own right, but I guess just wanting to make sure that you can't get stunned up. If Devil throws an ultimate, Quas throws an ultimate without anything else beforehand, if Serenok tries to throw the E, if you try to get ulted by either Braum or Ashe, there's so many things that can block that I guess it was just Strumpus going, man, I really need that protection to start things off in this game. And that Magic Resist, it completely denies damage now from the Malphite and from the Syndra. Anything that they would have had before is now essentially eradicated to start with, so it's just going to be Invictrix doing most of the DPS to this Orianna, at least to start with. There's still some behind everybody, but right now it's pretty much just the Ashe.
Yeah, and even though the kills are 8 to 9 here, something else to take note of is the gold difference. We are seeing what is a almost 4K difference, just not quite there yet in favor of Supernova. And just a picture perfect Herald take there, right as the Baron is spawning, and as the Herald would despawn, they're able to secure that, it looks like.
Not just that, like it's Rift Herald. They trade for bottom tower, which is good for the side of Bay State, but they also give up Dragon, and now Baron getting started. No one is in this area. It's half gone. They're going to lose this with no information about it.
Yep, Sword Blue is going to be able to see it, but he's only going to be able to see it go away. He is going to find himself rooted up. Might be looking like a juicy consolation prize as the Sword Blue looking to try and chase them down. See if Bay is going to be able to punish them on out. Sword Blue looking for an angle, but they're just so freaking fast. They're going to be able to escape this with ease, and The Baron recall timers are going to make this easy. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow going to be able to connect. It's only going to be one person caught in the Unstoppable Onslaught, as a lot of damage is going to be used, but the shields are there. Adventures is going to be able to find a kill onto G-Bunny, but over on the bad side, it's going to be Cavell.
As we see the fight now closing out, as we lose our play-by-play caster there for at least a second. We'll see if we can get him back in. But a fight
going to be able to ultimate, and the damage coming on through. Yeah, there we go. Back in it. Absolutely weird. I guess the Ice Storm has done a little bit of some damage over here on the East Coast for myself. That was a very interesting time to be alive, and now it is just going to be the tower going on down, and wow, it's just Supernova taking full advantage of this.
Yeah, it was a force coming in from the side of Bay State. Has now gone to double the lead that they had before. They haven't even gotten a chance to really deploy with their gold and this Baron buff, which is an even more terrifying prospect as they knock down mid inhibitor. And Bay State, I think like the idea is really good, where you're like, okay, what we need to do is stop them from backing, try to get this Baron off as fast as possible. They burnt their resources, they burnt their health bars. Maybe we can find them in translation. And then they see Strumpus under the mid tower with all four of these members or people hovering around him. They're just like, all right, we got to go for it. Let's get Strumpus. And they kill him, but like at what cost now at this point? Like, they aren't able to actually get anything off the back. They lose so much off the other end, and now they've completely overextended themselves. They're way out of this game at this point, and even their dragging stacking condition, they gave up Cloud Drake and Rift Herald and then Baron chained all together and lost a fight. That is such a rare event for Supernova to get all of those in a row with nothing else. That's kind of crazy. Really well performed from Supernova, being able to find a fight win after that many resources taken off the map in a row.
Yeah, we really need to say Bay looking for more higher impact ways to get these advantages for themselves, right? Like, the gold difference is hard for them. It's almost unsurmountable. We've seen people come back from worse gold leads, of course, but right now, yet again, Supernova, while it has taken them quite a bit longer in consideration to what their game was last game, they are now in a position where they're back to being in control. They're back into what's in favor. The items are just so big on the carries that they have. And even like when it comes down to the defensive items, I mean, you got 2 Banshee's fills, you got Merc Treads all around. Like, how does the side of Bay get through these carries now?
Yeah, and even these like you said, these Banshee Fields are actually making it so difficult for the pick tools to come through on this side when they have them up. TP's coming in, they might be looking to force. They see it in plain sight. I'm not sure.
Yeah, thank you for the Malphite ultimate. It's on delivery. You can get it here. Man, this would be a great time for us to be sponsored by like DoorDash or something like that. Like, you ordered a Malphite ult, here you go.
Yeah, you gotta pay. You gotta pay $7.50 extra to make sure that gets delivered to your house. But, I mean, it's worth it.
Only cost you one summoner.
Yeah, one summoner for sure. That's just a free dragon taken away, man. This was, I thought, was going to be the potential play from Bay State, just playing around these dragon objectives. The Baron call was really, really good from Supernova. They caught them completely out of vision and off guard with that. But again, I don't even know how they snuck that third dragon away. I really thought Bay State was going to just completely trade objectives and give that away. Now Cavell, he just assassinates on the bottom side of the map as no one's able to really respond to him. We're waiting for Rel to catch up with the rest of the team, but the 1-3-1 setup right now might be enough to cripple off another inhibitor from the side of Bay State before this next Baron comes in.
Yeah, Cavell is a threat in his own right, and this is exactly what you see a lot of Silas's do as we're going into the early mid-game. He has actually a very traditional Silas scoreboard where he has a lot of depth, but that's because Silas is the type of champion that wants to aggressively trade. And he's in his comfort zone. He's got the gold that he wanted, and it's the mid-game Silas that's so terrifying, while the rest of Supernova is just bearing their fangs down onto the top lane.
They are able to find this top lane tower, and we're waiting for Silas to collapse into bot side now. So now, I mean, you could put 4 members into top.
Enchanted Crystal Arrow not going to be able to do anything though, because the cleanse comes in so clutch. Glacial Fissure used as well, but Sword Blue is getting his HP deleted, and it's just going to be them getting rounded up. Sword Blue goes down first. It's going to be a tower that falls over into the bot side. It's going to be an unstoppable force by Quas, but Quas isn't going to be able to pick up any kills for himself as the HP bars drop to 1, but not to 0. Now Cavell in the middle of the base without the rest of his team, but they're just going to be able to secure this top inhibitor tower. They're actually going to turn their attention over to the nets this year. Supernova does need to be careful about how they play this. Adventurous is now back up. They also have Serenot still here in the area. Sejuani bringing over the root, making sure that Adventures can't move. Supernova is going to back up, try and grab a couple resources for himself. No minion wave in the top lane, so Strumpus is going to take a couple tower shots as he tries to leave out of here. Doesn't have the mana, but does have TP to rejoin the fray. Array is going to have to flash over the wall. G-Bunny going to be able to just barely survive himself. It's going to be the TP coming on back in. It's going to be Maddie falling on victim. And now G-Bunny over the wall, trying to see what else he'll be able to do. Strumpus says what is happening here. He's got full HP, full mana, but he's in full retreat. And now Cavell is going to join the rest of his team. Supernova outstaying their welcome a little bit, but they're actually on hot pursuit of Devil de Grey. Is going to be able to land one auto onto him, but not going to be able to get the slow. It's going to be a shockwave. Devil de Grey is looking to be auto down, command attack away, and that is going to be another kill as Cavell is going to be able to pick up the kill onto the Braum over here inside the top side of the jungle. Cavell is going to go and be able to dodge that crystal arrow. It's going to be a lot of damage still coming on in as Array is going to be able to chase him down and wrangle him on up. The Wolves pick up the kill, MVP for Bay, but now it's going to be Quas looking to try and pick up the kill onto Array. It is going to be just a one-sided affair as Array is just trying to kite it around, lays out a good amount of damage, but the effort is on for naught as Quas is able to find that kill. And they, yet again, able to find a defense at the end, but they have 3 open inhibitors they have to defend.
Oh man, like Supernova is like overstaying, but they are not really getting punished for it until like the 3rd time they overstay. So it's like, oh man, we could get this top tower. Don't need to. We win the fight afterwards. Yeah, we can push in mid tower. Yeah, we get Nexus tower. Okay, and then like let's get top tower anyway. Let's push down other inhibs, and eventually it just all catches up to them at once. Where Bay State's finally able to get a couple of kills and stop them. But the thing is that they just bleed Bay State of so much before they're able to get punished that it just doesn't matter if they get caught out. It doesn't matter if they trade over these kind of executions and this extra gold because it just they're getting too much off the back of all of this overstaying. So now Baron's come back up. Next Dragon's going to be up in only about a minute's time, and they've got so much advantage to work with at this point in the game that it's going to be tough for the side of Bay State to find any way in. A perfect team fight looks like a Quas ultimate into the remainder of these ultimates. They have a ton of CC if they can chain it together and they can get pressure in one of these rivers, but that's about all you can hope for right now. You're just hoping you can get a catch out in the river and start chaining the CC together.
Yeah, and you can even see a little bit of desperation coming out from Bay. They're trying to go for these setups where they're just like, all right, we're going to hold over. But look at the wards. They know perfectly where they are. They know where they're not. The wards are there to spot them out. They know where they last traveled to, and now it's going to be Sword Blue getting caught out. Maddie going to be able to lay a ton of damage back onto him. Sword Blue puts up the shield. Is going to have to use the Glacial Fissure to try and get his team away as the Enchanted Crystal Arrow is going to be used, but Sword Blue is still going to end up being collateral damage and is going to go down. Now Baron is going to be with Supernova. Turn their attention to Quas. Does have the unstoppable voice, but so does Cavell. What will the options be as Supernova does have the right of way, and it's just going to be them flash engaging onto Serenok. Your damage is gone. The Glacial Prism able to connect onto Strumpus, but it's just on the other side. Quas just getting chased away while it's Invictus and Devil de Grey on full retreat, but G-Bunny is in hot pursuit looking for him. Quas is going to have to use the Unstoppable Force to get himself out of harm's way, but Invictus trying to kite this out will find himself chained up, locked away, and taken out. And Bay State fully routed. Only the tanks remain, no damage left, and they have to somehow defend the base with no ultimate abilities.
Seems like right now, this is another opportunity where Supernova might overstay and look for a win, and they might be able to get it here with only the tanks remaining. They're going to push for it right here, right now.
They're looking for it. Strumpets is going to be able to go into a killing spree. Sword Blue is dropped down fairly low. Devil de Grey is trying to fight this one away from the Nexus turrets, trying to see what he'll be able to do. Cesar is going to be here. So they're not trying to see what he can do, but yet again, stunned up, locked up, taken out again. And it is going to be Supernova going to be able to find themselves another win, a 2-0 in favor of them. And Supernova looking so clean inside this series.
I'm happy to see, I think, the progress of this roster on the side of Bay State, where they bring back Devil de Grey. Quas comes back in. Sword Blue, I think, actually had a decent laning phase and didn't look too bad. But, man, Supernova is just firing on all cylinders. It took them a little while to get into this one. They overstayed a couple of times. Literally every single opportunity they had to overstay, they overstayed. But, man, they were making it work the entire time. They took it from what seemed like maybe a little bit of a rough position to start the game, and they brought it back to 100% control by the end. Big props to Supernova today.
Yeah, big props to Supernova. Indeed, we've talked about them. They were that steady, quiet team at the very beginning when we started to see all the amateur teams getting ready for this season, trying to lead their way into proving grounds and whatnot. And they've just been steadily growing, steadily getting stronger, and finding out what their win conditions are. So congratulations to them. And like you said, we did get to see some bright spots from BSC. They did get to do some stuff. Bay State did show us some good stuff, especially here inside of game 2. We'll be curious to keep our eyes on them, especially because now they're in this very interesting scenario inside the Group A where they do need to find themselves fighting Illinois, and they need to be able to pick up that dub for themselves. So will be a interesting storyline. But with that win, Supernova did just secure first place for themselves inside of Group A. It's a very important win for themselves.
That it is. And coming into what we will see as the playoffs, like you have to consider both sides of the bracket, especially as we look towards like the end of the playoff race. And you think like in Group A, you have Revival as one of the best teams, wildcard developmental, very good rosters, undefeated to this point, looking for number 1. And then you have Elder Conference where like now it's Supernova and they're the one race you're looking for. I'm very excited to see what this cross play looks like. And Supernova, they're going to give tests to anybody. It doesn't matter if it's Revival, doesn't matter who it is. Maddie has developed beyond belief. Array looks amazing. Strumpus is looking the best I think I saw him play all last year as well. They're firing, like I said, to say they're firing on cylinders again, I've said it 100 times, but I'll continue saying because they look amazing right now.
Yeah, honestly, absolutely are. They're looking fantastic, and I'm excited to see what this team looks like. Like they have just been continuing to grow, and honestly, have been fantastic throughout. With that being said, Rebel, you have any last things that you would like to close out before we send it over to the desk?
Nah, big stuff from Bay State. I like the second team that you were able to bring out. I think that Sword Blue looked really nice, and I want to see more of him as the tournament continues. I'm excited to see that Illinois State versus Bay State matchup. I'm really, really excited to see that one next week as you return. And congrats to Supernova, who continue building upon all the success they've had up to this point.
With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for coming out and seeing us here on the cast today. We're going to send it over to Desk as they're going to close it on out. So, Desk, go ahead and take it away.
Thank you very much, Travis and Rebel Fox, for a fantastic cast as always, gentlemen. Today we saw two different sides of Bay State. We saw two different rosters, but ultimately the same result. At the end of the day, with Supernova end up 2-0ing them. But this one I found was a lot different. It was a much better game for Bay State. It was a much slower paced game. So let's break that down. I'll come to you with the early game where it was back and forth, but all things seemed to be calm.
Yeah, except for you saw a couple of ganks in various lanes. I think the top lane is the one that's most interesting to me because the early game seemed to me like it was going the way of Bay State. You saw blowing both flashes in the top lane at levels 3 or 4 to try and kill Quas, end up trading 1 to him in the process. I know Quas doesn't have a flash, but that is absolutely not a worth play. And it actually happens twice. Cavell, not the greatest early game we've seen from him at all. It's just giving away a lot of unnecessary gold. And I mean, at the end of the day, even though you do technically get outscaled, looking at the composition of Supernova, I think you're okay with playing the game slow and just trying to make it to that late game. Because, yeah, maybe they got a little bit more power, but guess what? You have Malphite ult. You have Ashe ult. You have Braum ult. You have Sejuani ult. So much CC. Silas can steal ults, but he can't steal all 4 in a fight. So at the end of the day, if someone gets stunned, they're probably not moving. I like to call it hands off the keyboard stun, where it's literally like just, all right, you got me. Stun for 6 seconds, and I'm back in the fountain. So, I mean, early game seemed like it was going good, but as time went on, things kind of started to slip.
They started to slip, and then as we saw the early game transition in towards the mid game for us, it was like you said, kind of calm for the most part. But there was this really crazy gut check call from the side of Supernova to say, "Hey guys, let's do this 20-minute Baron." And there's not too many teams with the team fight composition that we had here for them that they would say, "All right, let's just go and do this." Because I mean, you have to worry about the Sejuani, you have to worry about the Malphite. Grouping up in that Baron pit is not something that you would typically want to do. But they just did not respect the fact that they could do it here with the Senna, the Orianna, the Silas, and I mean, I think we were a bit surprised saying, are they actually going for this right now? It's like, yes, they absolutely are. They ended up taking it away, and then they went to force a fight in the mid lane. And you could just see the desperation because they threw that hawk shot out. They see that they're on the Baron, but it's gone. They want to try and salvage the play. They're not in a position where they can at least trade something else on the other side of the map. So they're forced to try and, well, at least they think they're forced to try and make this play in towards the mid lane. They go for the dive. It goes horribly wrong. Not everyone has reset just yet, and that's when they really start to take the game into their own hands. They have Baron buff. They have a massive lead. They still had the Rift Herald that they ended up dropping as well. And I mean, that from that point on, it just felt like there was no really coming back in towards it.
It ended up being a really huge power play after trying to do it. It seems like, you try and stop some backs. Maybe not everybody was actually there, so you could pick someone off, remove some of those buffs from the team. But at the end of the day, all of Supernova were there, and they were looking for that fight under their mid-tier 1. You give away so much gold, and, well, you know what, Bay State, you got what you wanted. You stopped their backs. But because you got sent to the fountain the hard way, they were able to take so many towers before they went for that reset. And that gold lead pretty much inflated to a place where it was almost insurmountable, barring an insane miracle, an insane outplay, maybe some Imperial mandate action, but who am I to judge?
Yeah, it was just so difficult to come back from that, right? I mean, you're just looking at what they did to blow up in the game, and you're just trying to find windows back in. It gets scrappy, right? We see in that kind of blue quadrant, but you're just so limited on resources and items at that point in time. You're so far behind on your carries. Yeah, vision, everything. You can just feel them, slowly suffocating. Look for another desperation play to see if they can get back in. And if they never group and, give you those 4-man, 5-man Malphite ultis, followed up by the chain of CC that they have on their support and jungle, then you're just really never going to find the fight that you want.
And I think overall, though, this is a really nice showing from Supernova. The fact that they've looked really good lately as it is. They feel really good going into tonight. They look really good going into the playoffs because they guaranteed themselves getting first seed in their conference after getting this win on the night. And of course, them looking forward to their first match of tier 1 starting on Monday, as well as, of course, they've qualified. This is looking really good because it does feel like Supernova has been renewed, because in the earlier tier 2 Proving Grounds tournaments, again, we talked about at the top of the show, they didn't look as good as maybe they would have liked to have shown. But now they look much stronger. They look much more consistent. And now going into Monday against Zeus Gaming, I think they got a really good shot of taking them out.
They have faced Zeus Gaming before, and even talking to Saturn and the coaches, they said we're quite confident facing them. So let's hope for the absolute best going into Monday. Raptor Cup finish right this Sunday, and we're already at tier 1 here, baby. So this is some very, very exciting times in the amateur scene. And like you mentioned, you beat that. Now with this, we do have all the up-to-date standings for the scene for all the teams going on in the conference, because as of right now, like you said, B-Town, with Supernova, they are not locked in for going into the playoffs too. Along with them, I believe we have Dawn locked in as well, along with Wildcard and Revival. Actually, I'm getting some word beep all over the back of the studio. Yeah, it seems as though the wild card is the only other team other than Supernova locked in for the playoffs. So both top seeds and both playoffs obviously locked in mixes. They were locked in last night, so them going to carry on through. So we'll depend heavily on next week's matches to really tell the tale of our conferences, who will be moving on with these two absolute powerhouses. All remains to be seen.
Yeah, and it's looking pretty good, at least for those two teams being able to lock themselves first seed. And the fact that not everything else is locked does mean it looks like both conferences are actually more competitive, than initially expected. I mean, even me personally was a little bit doubtful of the Elder Conference, being like, oh, it's not as strong, especially when you look over at Baron, Revival, Wildcard, Conviction, Dawn, like really solid amateur teams in an Elder Conference. You got some solid names as well, but being at the top before seeing Supernova today did kind of make me think, let me see them play. But now that I have, I like what I'm looking at.
I do as well, bro, amigo. Now, with that all being said, I do want to thank all of you, especially for being with me today. The casters, as before, Rebel Fox and Travis, for putting on an absolutely fantastic show. Our producers, and observers hates me and hypertension is always making us look good. And my man's on the desk with me will beat down with beside my back day in, day out. Tech powers are not, drawing are not. This man is here, even though he got Thanos snapped last week too. He came back just as strong. And of course, our guest for tonight, Mr. Austin Visions Neal, bro, coming back and gracing us with his presence with the league scene. Thank you very much for being here. I want to ask you as well, any final words from you, Austin, before we close with the show?
Hey, man. This is a big throwback for me. Some of you guys might remember, some of you guys might not, but I got to spend a lot of time in Upsurge. 2019 was really the year that I kind of got to move in. So it's a really great time overall, good experience. Appreciate you guys, actually giving me the, option to come on here and be able to, show some love and come back to the community I came up in. So I appreciate you guys having me on, and it was a great time as always hanging out with you guys.
Absolutely fantastic being here with your brother, and of course having the all Canadian desk does feel a little good. So we want to thank you yet again for watching. But I have been ravishing, that's most ravishing on the internet. Thank you all. I'll see you next week. Until then, stay safe. Peace.